All right, I'm live. Hello. If you're watching this later, you've clicked on this video. It's live stream. I'm doing live streams every Friday in October until Lightbox, just because. And if you want to check the description down below, we've got a link to the Lightbox request form if you got anything you want to see. I've got some plans already, which you'll hear about, but you can kind of, throw out your suggestions, requests, anything you would really like to see at the event. And then there's also a link for upcoming classes, animation classes. I've got a lot of stuff planned. I'm going to be announcing a lot of stuff at Lightbox. So if you want to get a heads up on any of that stuff, links are below. Yeah, but if you're going to Lightbox, then I'll see you there, and we'll have a lot of stuff happening. I've got some talks that I'll be giving, and I'll have a booth, and then other stuff will be happening. So you can check out the link for that. Anyways, that's just the quick little overview, but hello to everybody who's here. I realize that whenever I always think about when I go live, the whole point is to like chat and just be present. But then I always think about the fact that like some people are going to click on this video later. Probably more people will end up watching this later than are here live at any given moment, or even total. So I feel like it's worth sharing some kind of intro information of, I don't know, stuff that I know offhand. Like, oh yeah, this is going to be useful that, whatever. But what's up? How's everybody doing? I have not nailed down a time of when I want to go live on Fridays. This is just kind of a thing I want to try. I was gonna go live at like 10 a.m. Eastern a couple hours ago, but I just had work stuff that I didn't get to finish and get away from until now. And so I've just figured let's do it. Trying to be less precious with things, with particulars of when to go live and when to post a video and that kind of thing. Greetings from Selfie Guy. I will never forget. How you doing? Hey Jen. I almost missed this. That we were going to do it earlier. I was planning on it. Not planning on doing it when you were at work necessarily, but I was planning on going live earlier. Stop Linus. Yeah, I was oh, I guess I haven't slept yet. Yeah, I was up. I've been up since yesterday. Which is probably, you can probably tell a little bit. But nope, I was working. I was busy. I had a very productive day yesterday, very productive evening, and I wasn't really ready to like let the momentum stop, and so I just kind of kept working. And then it was 6 a.m. and then I was like, maybe I'll have a snack because I'm in the middle of something right now. And then I was still in the middle of things and working, and then it was like 10, and I was like, I'm supposed to go live now. I need to finish this. And then it was 12. And then I was kind of finishing things at like 12:40, and I was like, okay, now I can go live. And then I don't know what else I did. I did a couple of other. Oh, I had to like change the thumbnail for the live stream, little things like that. Anyway, so I've just been working for like, I don't know, 30 hours or something. I've been working since yesterday. I don't think it's actually been 30 hours, to be fair. But I've definitely been working for the last like, I don't know, probably like 15 hours for sure. Little breaks here and there, but anyway, I'm a little tired. How are you guys doing? um, I have some fun stuff to play with here in my office that I'll probably make some videos about soon, which will be exciting. Actually, I guess I'll just start off with that. Why not? Why not? What else do I have to talk about? Who knows? I have no plan. There's no plan for this. We're just chilling. We're hanging out. Hey, everybody. I remember those kinds of days, multiple days when I was in college. Yeah, it was a lot easier before. I used to stay up all night for like a couple days at a time, and it was like not that big of a deal. I get really tired, and then I go to sleep for, a solid 10, 11 hours, and then I was fine. It's not the case anymore. I don't recover. I don't bounce back so quickly anymore. But ew, where's your Toothless action figure? You know, that's a great question. I think Toothless is in the closet. Toothless is still in the closet. I never actually unboxed him when I moved here because I never actually properly decorated my office until like 3 weeks ago, 2, 3 weeks ago. It's now somewhat presentable, but it's not actually decorated still. And so you can see like there's a big old gap right here. He could go there. I'm still deciding if I want to keep that shelf there, if I'm going to make some changes, but yeah, I guess Toothless is currently in the closet. I should unbox him and I should put him like here because that's a good spot for him maybe. Yeah. That's where he's at. He's napping. Hello, hello. So virtual production. I don't know if that's interesting to anybody, but I'm not yet working on it. I'm planning a video. I'm like writing the video. I'm writing a video about virtual production because I have been like working on virtual production for, I don't know, almost 2 years now. Since I moved here, since I moved to this apartment in New York, I have been it was one of the first things I set up. I think I've talked about it a little bit before in the last stream, but like since I got here, I have wanted to explore virtual production and I've wanted to dabble in it. And so I've been slowly building up my on camera, like at home virtual production setup. And I've tried to do it at like a budget level. And then I've also tried to do it at like a professional level where it's like, okay, how do I do it with like streaming equipment? Like, you know, not that that's cheap, bunch of streaming gear, but it's a lot more affordable than like professional film gear, you know? So I started with that, and then I started getting little pieces of more professional gear so I could do it properly, so I could compare. And anyway, you can see remnants of pieces. Like this is my green screen. That's just kind of sitting here. This is a green screen. Um, TV on the wall, which I can use as a virtual production background. Bunch of camera stuff, you know, black magic stuff, signal converters, BNC cables, which I didn't even know what a BNC cable was. Anyways, that monitor was expensive. That was probably the largest purchase I had to make in this whole thing. I got it like a while back, but I use it to film my videos. Anyways, that's a whole thing. But I'm finally making the upgrades that I need to actually get the virtual production stuff working, which is very exciting. I have a couple things over here. I'll show you in a second. First, let me catch up with everybody here. Real Dragon Cave? Oh, I was very confused for a second. How's the vibe in New York? I love it. I like it a lot. Vibe's good. Vibe's very good. It's now starting to become fall here. It's getting like crispy. It's like 60s air. What is it today? Today, it's almost 2 p.m. where I'm at right now, and it's 62 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius. I have absolutely no idea. I'm trying to see if it tells me somewhere on here. No, apparently not. I have absolutely no idea what the conversion is. Hello? How do I, like, you would think that it would give you both. That it would be like, oh, this much Fahrenheit, this much Celsius. It's really not interested in helping me out there. Okay, well, and that's why I don't know Celsius. There's whatever. Anyway, it's very nice. I've been very much enjoying the brief times I go outside. I am in my office most of the time. I typically don't leave. I just work. As I said earlier, I've been sitting in this chair for almost 15 hours straight because I haven't slept. I was working all day and then I worked all night and then I was working this morning and then I was supposed to go live earlier and then I didn't because I was working and then I finished my project. I was like, "Oh, I guess I can go live now." And here we are. And I've been up working since yesterday. And I'm still so behind on everything I need to be doing. Anyway, hello from Turkey. Wow. Hey, that's cool. Hello from hello from here. Oh, Rainy, I owe you a message. How you doing? um, I feel like every time I go live, there's always somebody who jumps in the chat that I'm like, oh, I owe this person an email or a Discord message or something. Like I said, I'm always behind. There's so much to do at every moment. Have you made it upstate yet for fall colors? No, I haven't. I want to. I haven't gone upstate yet. I don't think I've ever been upstate in New York. No, I haven't yet. I need to. I really wanted to this season, so I'm like hoping to make that happen. Probably November, hopefully. I miss season so badly. Enjoy the fall weather. I will try. It's like there's so much time that elapses and I'm like, oh, I haven't left my apartment in 6 days. Like, I'll just not leave. Uh. Anyway, I enjoy it when I get a glimpse of it. So I physically moved my desk to face this way so I could look out the window more. I have a window right here, and I was facing the wall because it felt like it made sense for this room, and so I was facing the wall because I didn't want to cover the window with my desk. But then I realized that like for the last year and a half, I'd be working, and then I would turn and look out the window and be like, "Oh my God, it's dark," or "Oh my God, it's light." Like last time I looked, it wasn't that time of day, and I always was like shell shocked by like, "Oh, I have no concept of time." And so I specifically just reoriented my entire office so I could move my desk so I could face this way so that I could like glimpse the outdoors while I work so that maybe I have some sense of the world. Anyway, do you still do parkour? Not really. I'd like to. I mean, I still enjoy it. I still can do it, not at the level I used to be able to do it, but um, it's something that I wish I could devote more time to getting back into it a little bit. But I was very spoiled living in LA near Tempest, the free running academy, because it was just like the perfect place for it. And I think we have a couple parkour gyms in New York, but I haven't been to them yet. So it's on my list. Like, oh, I want to check those out, but I haven't done it yet. Don't forget to stretch. 15 hours feels painful. Yeah, my tailbone kind of hurts. I'm at a standing desk. I was planning on standing. I was considering standing for this stream, but then here I am. Here I sit. Maybe we'll switch it up in a little bit. I did recently start using a treadmill at my desk, though. I feel like it's been great, actually. I'm really enjoying that. What are you working on? I am working on a couple things right now. I feel like I'm juggling like 4 different projects and then my own stuff. And that's typically I'm juggling like, I don't know, 3 to 4 what I would call external projects. And then I've got my own stuff in various like categories. Right now, external projects wise, I'm animating some stuff for a Corridor digital video, which is very cool, which will end up being a video that I end up making because I'm helping them with a video, which I can't say what it is because I don't they don't announce their video, so I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, so I'm working on a Corridor video. And then from that, I'll definitely make a video on my channel of like, oh, how I did what I did over here, because that's a fun little, companion piece. Hopefully, I'm hoping people will find my channel because of it. And then I'm working on some. How? What am I allowed to say? I'm working on some training content, I suppose, some tutorial type stuff for Epic Games. That's something that I have to do this weekend, finish that up. And then what else am I doing? Allow me to consult my list because I can't keep track of anything anymore. Oh yeah, I'm teaching a virtual production training course. I'm supervising a virtual production like program in Singapore, and I'm also training a bunch of artists for that program and spinning up a virtual art department for that virtual production shoot that I'll be a part of. And that's all. So that's all in Singapore. I went there to start off, and then I've been remote ever since, and I'm kind of doing that in the evenings. Um, and so I'm doing that. And then I'm doing a bunch of stuff for Lightbox, and I'm redoing and revamping and adding a bunch of new course stuff, which I'm going to be announcing at Lightbox, which is very exciting. And then there's videos and like normal stuff. And I guess the other thing is with all the virtual production, I'm trying to actually get my at-home virtual production set up working and like foolproof, which I'll show this. I'll show this. This is cool. Upgrades. I have recently acquired this Ultimate 12 4K. This is a hardware keyer. It's a green screen keying piece of hardware that, I'll show you the picture on the box. Before and after, right? This is, you plug a bunch of camera sources in and it does the green screen stuff. And it does a really, really, really good job. I think, as far as I'm aware, and I'm pretty sure this is a true statement, but as far as I'm aware, it is the best green screen keying hardware option available. I mean, technically, there's like a fancier version of this. It's like 8K, but who needs that? So anyway, I have this because I do green screen stuff for production because I don't have an LED wall except for the TV. Anyway, that's this, and there's all these cables. You can plug a bunch of stuff into different places, and so there's that. And then I have this to go with it, which is where you actually do the recording. Because once you do all that stuff, that thing doesn't do the recording. That thing just does the keying, and then it sends the video signal of like, here's your finished video. What are you gonna do with it? You have to record it somewhere. So that's this. So I have those, but this has to like record to a hard drive, and I didn't get a hard drive, so that comes next week. That. And so I've had to draw this like diagram. Let's see, is there anything here I can't show you? No, it's fine. I had to like draw this whole signal flow chart trying to figure out like which cables and adapters I need to plug what into where. I don't know if this makes any sense to anybody, but there's that. I have to do this a lot actually for my office. I have so much stuff plugged into different places that I just have to like constantly draw diagrams to figure out what I'm doing. I don't know if you actually wanted the full answer, but that's the answer. What am I doing right now? That's the kind of stuff I'm doing right now. A lot of miscellaneous stuff that is like 3D adjacent. That was my reminder for you. Effective. I'm going to write a note to myself so I don't forget again. A second. Giant post-it notes. Best thing ever. Sweet. Uh, there's something else I was going to say. Oh, I was just going to say Lightbox. While we're on the topic of Lightbox, just before I forget again, there is a pinned comment in the wherever the thing is, the chat, and a link in the description. If you are going to Lightbox, fill out the form. It's not a crazy form. It's just like if you have any ideas or requests or things you'd like to see at Lightbox, I'm going to be doing some stuff. And so if you have stuff that you'd really like to have happening, let me know. But then there's other stuff too. There's another reason why if you're going to Lightbox, you should fill out the form, but I can't tell you why yet, but you should do it. If you're going to Lightbox or you're going to be in LA or you're going to be in Pasadena at the end of the month, you should fill out the form. Can't tell you why just yet because there's like I don't know, it's an 80% chance. I think it's an 80% chance that there's going to be something very, very cool happening that I have no better way to let you know than if you fill out the form, because then I can just like, there's a little question that's like, hey, what are your plans on a certain day? Got plans? No? Good to know. So, fill the form. Oh, but I can tell you, if you're going to Lightbox, I'm going to be doing some giveaways, which will be really exciting. I don't know if I want to tell you all of what I'm giving away, but I'll tell you some of what's being given away. I've got some stuff that I'm bringing with me to the convention. And then some of the channel sponsors and brand partners that I work with. I reached out to a bunch of the companies that I work with on YouTube and who sponsor my videos and are supportive and help me do what I do, because one of the biggest ways that I'm able to pay my bills is with sponsored videos. And so the I reached out to a bunch of my sponsors and companies that I work with and the contacts there, and said, hey, I'm doing all this stuff at Lightbox. Do you want to get involved? Do you want to help like make this cool? And a lot of them, well, there wasn't a lot of time. It was it was planning some of the stuff I planned. It took a bit longer, and so there wasn't a whole lot of time for people to like arrange stuff. And so in the limited time we've had, not everybody was able to say yes. A lot of people wanted to, but like, we can't for X, Y reasons. But a lot of companies came through. A fair amount have come through with some cool stuff. So we've got some software licenses. We've got, actually, I don't know what one of the products is. Give me a second. What is this item? Is it a, oh, it's one of these. Give me a second. I'm not going to show it because I don't know which model it is and I don't want to get anyone's hopes up for the wrong thing. Is it a tablet? I think it's, I'm fairly certain. It's just a tablet, right? Just making sure that it's not like a computer also. I don't think it's a computer. I think it's just a, oh, wait. Oh. No, it's a proper tablet. It actually is not a display tablet. Ah, that's cool. I'm actually not familiar with this thing yet. Anyways, there's gonna be some very cool giveaways at Lightbox. We're gonna have a tablet, a certain tablet, software licenses. I'm forgetting, I'm blanking. Some cool like desk peripherals, like things you plug into your computer to do cool stuff in 3D. There's one thing in particular that I've been told that we're going to be able to give away, but I don't know for sure that it's going to arrive in time. And so it will be given away. It just may not be with me there. And so it's either going to be something that I hand to someone at the event and say, you've won this, or it's something that I have to get somebody like, all right, share your address and it'll be shipped to you. But I'm gonna hang on to that one. We still have more live streams this month. How else do I keep you coming back? Anyway, we're gonna be doing some cool giveaways. I've also reached out to a few animation studios, and I'm trying to see if any studios want to provide some like studio merch, movie posters, that kind of stuff. We'll see. I don't have a lot of contacts at like in those departments at studios, so like I'm not really sure who to ask most of the time. But I'm kind of reaching out here and there to be like, hey, like, do you guys have any like extra stuff you wanna just share with people? So hopefully some fun stuff. Anyway, now that you're in New York, you and Jess really need to go to the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome and see the air shows. Huh. I don't think I've seen an air show since I was a kid. I feel like I vaguely remember an air show at some point in my life, but I don't really think I've been to an air show as like a cognitively whole person. Moved to Unreal recently, but finding simple rigs such as bouncing ball rig with tails and legs for animating. Wait, moved to Unreal, but finding simple rigs is a problem. Yeah, there's There's not a ton of rigs yet for Unreal. I mean, there's some, but there's not a lot. The thing that I would recommend is the cardboard box. There is a cardboard box rig built into the control rig sample pack inside of Fab that gives you a lot of the stuff that you're going to want to play with that a bouncing ball would normally do. So if you're trying to kind of just peek into Unreal, um, I go all through all that stuff in my Unreal classes, but in general, if you're just trying to jump into Unreal and you want to start some animation, grab the control rig sample pack off of Fab, and inside of its control rig folder, props, card box. It's in the props folder, but it's a cardboard box rig, and it's like a solid bouncing ball equivalent. What's up? I'm from Germany. Hello, hello, hello. Can't go to Lightbox because I'm broke. Because America ain't safe right now. Fair. Can the prizes be shipped to Canada? I'm planning on just having them with me. My plan is to just everything I'm planning on giving away at Lightbox, I'm planning on just handing to people. Because one of the things about Canada is if I were to ship stuff to Canada, I'm is that true? I'm fairly certain that if I ship stuff to Canada, you have to pay like additional taxes when you pick it up or something. I forget the details now. It's been a while since I've had to deal with that. But I'm not planning on doing any shipping if I don't have to. I'm just gonna have the stuff with me at Lightbox and be like, here you go. And if you need to ship it to yourself, then ship it to yourself. But that's kind of my plan. What's up, Chris? What's up, Cherry Bud? Yeah, but Lightbox should be a fun time. I have a lot of stuff left to do for planning that it's a lot. I have a lot of things, but it should be fine. It'll be fine. Um, but yeah, what's everybody else? What's everybody else doing? What animated movies have we seen lately, or what other movies in general have we seen? No spoilers. There's a spoiler-free zone. No discussions of plots. Just general question. Any movies that people should watch? Any games that people should play? I feel like I've been more in game territory than movie territory lately. When I have free time, just want to play video games. Is that that movie? Oh, I feel like I know what movie you're talking about. Is it on Netflix? I can't remember where it lives. Also, I had no idea you were going to be at Lightbox. I hope to meet you there. Yeah, I haven't announced it very well. I've only talked about it in these live streams. I need to make some posts. I'm very bad at promoting stuff. Are you going to have your own booth or will you be presenting a demo on the stage? Both. I will be doing both. If you actually, I should share the link to this here. Let me drop this in chat. I will have a booth, booth 831. It's kind of in the back on the right side. And then I will be giving two talks, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And I'm giving a talk on going solo and working as an independent artist and the things I've learned there. And then I'll be giving a talk on Unreal Engine. So two different talks, Saturday, Sunday, and then the booth. And then other stuff. I'm going to be hosting some giveaways. I've got some plans for some stuff going on at my booth. ... Other things in the works that aren't confirmed yet, but I'm close to confirming them and very hopeful. Very hopeful. I'm optimistic. Really hoping that they happen. But yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm more involved in this year's Lightbox than I've ever been before, which I'm very excited about. I've always wanted to speak at Lightbox and like do more at the event. So this is hopefully the first of many Lightbox adventures. I'm also planning on making some videos at Lightbox this year. I haven't made a video at or from Lightbox since the first year I ever went to it, since the first year it started in 2019. I haven't made a video. I never bring my camera to Lightbox or anything. But this year I'm planning on actually making some stuff, which will be fun. So if you were there and you want to be in a video, you know, just jump in front of the camera. Thoroughly enjoying Claire Obscure. Expedition 33. I don't know that game. I feel like I'm always really late to the party on like what games are popular and what games are like, oh my gosh, everyone's playing this. Huh. Yeah, I've seen nothing of this game. Turn-based RPG with unique real-time mechanics. Cool. I have to check it out. I'm so behind on like the games wasn't it Balatro? The game of the year last year was that card game that everyone was like, "Don't play it, you'll get addicted." I really want to try it. I have yet to even buy it. I'm always behind my list of like I'm working through my games. It's just I'm so slow. I never have time. Reading more than anything else right now. Ooh. I have been also trying to read more. What is your genre? I was gonna say, what is your genre of book? I'm like sci-fi fantasy. Those are my two. I live in fiction, fantasy, and sci-fi. That's like where I live. What's the last thing I read? I'm listening to some audiobooks right now, but I don't quite count that as the same. I count that as like having read a book, but I don't count it as actively reading. I'm What am I actively reading right now? I guess I finished a book recently. What was it? Shoot, what was the book I just finished? I can't remember the name of the book I just finished. What the heck? Oh. It was the what's that zombie movie? Like that Dawn of the Dead or something? Is that right? Dawn of the Dead is it book? Yeah, I just read Dawn of the Dead. That was pretty good. Before that I read like three different separate books and separate series about like magic. One was really like intense and kind of like thrillery. And another one was more like mystery noir kind of thing. Both very good. The Chinese movie, highest grossing animated film of all time. Yeah. But where does it live? Isn't it on Netflix or something? Or maybe I just saw it. I don't know where I saw it. Somewhere I saw it and I was like, ooh, wish list. But I don't remember where that was. I wasn't feeling going to Lightbox, but after hearing that you're coming through, I might actually. But I haven't got my tickets at all. I think I think there's still tickets. I don't think they've sold out or anything. I actually, I guess here's the thing I'll say. Um, I need to make a post about this. I have not actually posted about this anywhere, but I'm looking for two things. Well, I'm looking for several things at Lightbox, but um, there are two things that I need to announce. It's not like an announcement, but I need to like make a post about it somewhere. I haven't set up a form for either of these things yet. I need to set up forms for both of these things, but I'm currently looking for two things for Lightbox. If there are any animators who want to be able to, if there's any animators who want to give feedback to artists at Lightbox, because that's one of the things, it's like people love to get feedback on their work when they go to these events. And if you are someone who's like I would love to give feedback, I like doing that. Um, I'm looking for some animators to participate in some of the stuff I'm doing at my booth. One of those things is providing feedback for people. There's more to it than that, but at a really base level, that's one of the things I'm looking for. And so I need to make a form to like where people can like say, "Ooh, me. Here's my information. Here's the days I'm going." But that's one thing I'm looking for. And so if that is you, then since I don't have a form yet, feel free to either email me or DM me on Discord or something, or DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. Um, Those are the platforms I use: email, Discord, LinkedIn, Instagram. I don't think I get notifications for all of them. No, I don't think I get notifications for all of them. Some of them I do. Anyway, but that's one thing. And then the other thing, and this is probably a little bit, yeah, the other thing I'm looking for is I am going when I'm not allowed to leave my booth. If you have a booth at Lightbox, and I think most conferences, you're not allowed to leave the booth empty. There has to be someone at the booth at all times. Which also, since I'm gonna have like a laptop there and like I'm doing stuff at the booth, like I'm not gonna want to just like leave it there either. So Jess will be with me, my wife. She'll be there helping with stuff, but there will be times that I'm going to be speaking. And so I'm going to want to go and speak. And she's going to come with me and see me speak. And so I will need to make a form for this, but I will be looking for two people to help with my booth. Um, two volunteers, essentially. And what I can offer you in exchange is a ticket to Lightbox. It's not constant, right? Because it's not like I'll be at the booth most of the time, but there's gonna be times that I'm gonna need to like I want to go buy art, or I'm gonna need to take a meeting, or I'm gonna be speaking, or I just need to step away for a minute for whatever reason or something. Um, and so sometimes I'll leave, and then Jess will run the booth, and sometimes we'll both need to step away or whatever. And so it's not like it's on call necessarily. There might be like a couple. There might be a time where I'm like but more than anything, it's a scheduled thing. It's like, ooh, for these pockets of time, take over the booth so that I can go do my speaking, my talk or whatever. And so, if anybody here is wanting to go to Lightbox, and yeah, if you want to go to Lightbox and you're in the LA area, or you're planning on being there or whatever, and I need to make a form to make this like official, and it's kind of like a job interview or job application in a way, just because like I need to know a little bit about people. If I'm going to trust you to run the booth and like watch my laptop and generally just kind of be there representing what I'm doing there, um, I need to know a little bit about you. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. But yeah, so if somebody comes looking for me or somebody comes like asking, and you're like, oh, I don't like to talk to people. It freaks me out to have to like talk to people. Then like, well, it's probably not the right fit because you have to run the booth for a little bit. Um, but anyways, so just as a thing, if anybody here's considering going to Lightbox, or you haven't bought your tickets yet, or you want to give your ticket to somebody else and you want another ticket or something, like if anybody here is interested, or if you're watching this later when it's no longer live, I will need to put a form, but feel free to reach out. I will be doing that form probably today. I need to actually really do that because Lightbox starts 2 weeks from today. Literally, it is what, 2 o'clock in an hour, because the doors open I think at noon on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So in 1 hour, 2 weeks from now, Lightbox begins. So I really need to do that. So anyway, I will likely make that form this evening, and I'm going to post some stuff on my Instagram, and I'm going to post some stuff on, I'll probably make a YouTube community post, and I might even post it on LinkedIn. I should probably post it on LinkedIn. I'll post it on LinkedIn. But anyway, yeah, because for having a booth, I'm going to have two exhibitor badges for paying for a booth. Because I'm not going to have an artist booth. I'm going to have like it's not a sponsor booth. I guess I don't know. There's like Artist Alley. If you've been to Lightbox before, then you might know the layout a little bit. Artist Alley's like where there's artists and you can like buy their art and support them. I don't make physical art as much as I wish I could. It's not really my thing, at least not yet. One day maybe, but I'm not there. And so I don't have an Artist Alley booth. I have like a sponsor booth, but not like a fancy sponsor booth because I'm not like a studio. I have a smaller sponsor booth. And so Anyway, um, for doing that, I got two exhibitor badges, and then for being a speaker, I get a badge. So I'll have one, and then I bought a second. I bought an extra exhibitor badge as well. That way, Jess and I both have badges so that we can get in when we need to get in and set up the booth and all the other stuff. And then I have an additional exhibitor badge so that somebody else is able to come in at any time, because the exhibitor badge lets you get in early and stay later because you're there for like setup and teardown. And so if I need help with those kinds of things, then somebody has that. But then, so I'm not relying on one person. If it's like, oh, I need this help at this time, and you're like, oh, but there was a panel I really wanted to go to, or I really need to go to the bathroom. I don't know. Like if there's a reason where like, ooh, I wanted to make sure I had two people. That way, if I have times that I need to step away, there's two different people that I can kind of rely on. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I haven't figured out all the details. But anyways, that's one of the things is I have two. I had to get an extra one manually, but I now have two. We'll call them spare tickets, but they're not spare tickets. It's two tickets for those who can help me run my booth for limited pockets of time. I'm not trying to monopolize your weekend. So if anyone's interested, that's my spiel. I'm just talking for way too long. All right, catching back up with chat. I think it's the first new PC game I bought in several years. Oh wow. I feel like every time there's a Steam sale, I go and I find a game that's like, wow, this game's like $3. And I buy a lot of these like little games that only cost like a couple dollars here and there. And then I just have this like library of games. I'm like, I haven't even installed half of these. Very behind. I played I played two games recently actually. Not how recently? Fairly recently. I had like an evening and I was like, I'm playing games. I'm playing games, damn it. And I played Yes Your Grace. I think that's the name of it. Yes, Your Grace. Let me make sure. Yes, that is it. I don't know. Yeah. Game called Yes Your Grace. Loved it. Really good. Really, really fun. It's like a role playing strategy pixel art game. It's like resource management, but I don't know. It's very story based, story driven, and the choices impact the endings and things like that. And I just played it straight through. Like I played the whole thing straight through. I didn't really mean to, but I did. It was great. And then I got to the end. I'm like, oh, I got like almost a perfect ending. I got like a really good ending, which I didn't realize. I didn't really realize that like there were different endings until it was like, you got like a pretty good ending. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I made certain decisions then. Anyway, it was very fun. I recommend it. Let's see. I read mostly horror, sci-fi, and fantasy, but I also read a lot of nonfiction as well. I can't. Well, I always used to say that I can't do nonfiction because I found it so boring. But I feel like at this point in my life, I probably would enjoy. I probably wouldn't like hate nonfiction. When I was younger, I was like, I'm not reading nonfiction. Puh. But I think like I've, I'm I'm more mature these days. I think I could read some nonfiction. Probably be good for me. Although horror, I don't like to be scared. I don't know. Maybe in a book. Maybe in a book. Maybe that could be better. I'll try it sometime, maybe. I just finished The Secret Market of the Dead. I'm still reading Level Up. Oh, save those over here. Those sound interesting. Bit of shameless promotion. You should check out a game I worked on called Rivals of Aether 2. I did all the victory animations for it. Well, that's cool. Now I have to check it out. Rivals of Aether 2. Copy paste. Fun. Ha! These rigs are fun. Or these characters. They look kind of like, well, they don't look like Pokemon, but it's like it's kind of in that spirit of like elemental animals. That looks like a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, I want to see the victory animations. I'm gonna like literally later. I'm gonna type in victory animations and try to look at them. That's super cool. Um, ever thought? Wait, ever thought about? Why can't I read? Ever thought about like doing a video series where people send you their trashy animations and you go through them, say what's wrong, and then reanimate them? That's an interesting idea, but I don't think I'm really comfortable like reanimating somebody's work. You know, like it's a fun idea. It would be a lot of fun to watch for sure. Like it's a great concept, but don't think I'd be very comfortable reanimating somebody's work because then it's a couple things. It's like that's very presumptuous of me to think that I can like outdo anybody's animation. Like I can do it better. Hand it over. Um, it's a little bit of an odd energy. And then the other thing is like if I did that, I can't really claim that shot as my own. Not that I want to, but I like that wouldn't really be right because I'm basically just like building off of somebody else's shot. But at the same time, I've then taken their shot and done whatever I've done to it to where it's no longer their shot either. And it's not like in like a collaborative spirit to like make the movie better or make the game great. It's sort of just like pollution in a way. It's a great idea. Like it sounds like a lot of fun to watch because it'd be really interesting and probably actually very helpful and beneficial for people to like absorb stuff. But I think it'd be very difficult to like frame that properly of taking someone's animation and then like hijacking it. I have thought of other ideas that are like not as entertaining as that, but a little bit less shady. But that's also why I haven't done those videos because they're not as entertaining. But I have a few ideas that are kind of in line where it's like people provide their animation and then we do some fun stuff with it. But I like the concept, but it's not, I don't think it's for me. And I think it'd be, if anyone, actually, really, if anybody did it, I'd be like, ooh, that's weird. I've read nonfiction books and watched documentaries since elementary school. I discovered documentaries so late. You're probably a lot smarter than I am. Documentaries are great. I think the first documentary, well, maybe not the first, as an adult, the first documentary that I like properly chose to sit down and watch and then like loved was the Imagineering one, the Disneyland Imagineering documentary, a docu series on Netflix. I guess Disney, it was Disney Plus when Disney Plus first came out. That was amazing. So much I did not know about the Imagineers and the engineering challenges, and anyway, that was all very cool. And that's when I was like, wow, I've been missing out on documentaries this time. It's like they're like video essays, but more. Anyway, I really liked the Into the Unknown, Making Frozen 2 documentary. Oh yeah. I feel like I watched that and that was really good. I don't really remember it now, but I do think I watched it and I do think I enjoyed it. There's a YouTube channel I really, really like called No Clip. It's game documentaries. They embed themselves in studios during the development of games, and they document all the stuff. And then at the end, they turn around some kind of documentary about the process of making that game. It's called No Clip, one word, and it's so good. They're really, really good, like well produced and really interesting. And they have some on Hades and they have some on various games, but they have some um, on Bethesda that I love because they talk about Fallout 4. What is it they do? Oh no, they have two videos. They have the history of Bethesda Game Studios, and then they have one on Fallout 76, which loops through Fallout 4, Fallout Shelter, and then Fallout 76. Because I think they released that documentary when the game was announced because they had been there during the development of it. It's fascinating. It's so interesting. Ooh, and another one. Ah, what's it called? Raising Kratos? It's called Raising Kratos. I forget. It's the Sony. It's the PlayStation. It's like an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's the God of War documentary from the rebooted God of War game from a couple years ago. That one is so flipping good. I think that was That was my first. Is that the first? That might have been the first like game development documentary I had ever found, and I was completely just like, I had no idea that that's how so much of games. Like I didn't know much about games. All of my education in animation was for feature film, and through experience, I learned about TV and commercials and like other stuff that's more similar. I never had exposure to games, which is a huge like missed opportunity for me. Like when I was going through school and I was like picking mentors, I only ever picked like movie people. Like man, I wish I had learned from games artists because it's so different and it's so interesting. Anyway, that's a really really good documentary. I think it's called Raising Kratos. I can't remember. It's got the game director and he's Corey Barlog, and he's got like a little like doll of Kratos in like a little like a baby harness on his chest, and he's like, "That's the thumbnail." Very good. If you're interested about game animation, or if you don't think you're interested in game animation, you should watch it because you might actually be interested in game animation. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, hang on a second. Emails coming in. Got to check this. Actually, I should probably. I can check on my computer. Like worried that I'd like dox myself and show my email, but I'm not sharing my screen, so it's fine. Give me 2 seconds to make sure that I don't need to do anything right this moment. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Dun, 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 dun. Next week. Okay. Good email. Good positive email. Not something I can talk about, but also not something we need to worry about right now. If I don't check my emails right when they come in, they will get buried. And so a lot of times I don't realize when something comes in and then it gets buried. And then I'm like going about my day and I'm like, wait, when did that come in? Oh my gosh, I missed that. That happens a lot. So when I do catch an email, I'm like, go look at it. All right. Did you ever see Beyond the Mind's Eye, 1982? No, I've never heard of that movie. Is that, I assume it's a movie. Watch the behind the scenes stuff, VHS for the original trilogy of Star Wars, made me fall in love with special effects and model making. That's cool. I don't remember where I saw those videos for the first time because I had, I remember we had the VHS for Star Wars, but I never watched any special features on VHS for Star Wars. I don't know where I saw those, but I know what you're talking about. Those videos where they're like showing like, oh, we take these little pieces and we put them on the Millennium Falcon. I don't think I ever watched the full thing. You know the ones I wish I would have found. I wish I would have discovered. I never, growing up, I never went to the bonus features on a DVD. I never had like behind the scenes on VHS. Like I never encountered behind the scenes anything for any media ever. And it sucks because I was so interested in certain things and I did not understand how they worked and the information was there and I just didn't know it and so I never saw it. Like Lord of the Rings. I would watch Lord of the Rings every day, twice a day. I just like I would just have it on. I had one of those TVs in my room that was like it had a VCR and a DVD player built into it, which is like a big CRT with the two things built in. And in my room, this was in like middle school, high school. I had this TV in my room, and I just kept the Lord of the Rings trilogy in my room, and I would just like cycle through the DVDs, and I would just play. And sometimes I just like let them play, and I'd be doing other things. I'm like on my computer, I'm like animating stick figures and stuff, and I just have the Lord of the Rings on, and if they finish the movie, sometimes I wouldn't even switch to the next disc. I'd just hit play again and I just like let it replay. And I never knew, I never thought to go into special features or bonus features or whatever it was. Like, I did not know that these extended editions of Lord of the Rings had so much behind the scenes content of how the movies were made. I had no clue that that stuff was there. And so I just never saw those videos. And to this day, I've never seen the full behind the scenes for Lord of the Rings, which it drives me crazy because every time I'll get like sort of some clip of like some behind the scenes video I've never seen, I'm like, where'd this come from? And like, oh, this has been here forever. Anyway, computer, enhance the design so we can see the reflection. Oh, my reading my email. How dare you? Austin, hi. Recently found your channel from an older PC for animation. Wait, from an older PC for animation video. Followed up with your most recent one. Super cool to see what you're doing. Oh, thank you. What what video did you find me with? I'm curious if you remember. Recently found your channel from an older PC for animation video. Older PC for animation video. Is that the topic of the video? Did I have a video that was like using an old computer for animation? I don't know. I don't remember. I'm very curious how you discovered my channel. If anybody knows, if anybody here remembers the like the first video that you like found my channel, I'd be so curious. Actually, I'd be curious for two things. What was the first video you can remember that you found of mine? And what video has been your favorite? Those would be my two questions. Like, which one did you think you discovered for the first time that you remember? And which one like was the best, most useful or most helpful or most like meaningful or something? Oh, good. I got another message. See, I like this is like the third one since I've been streaming. But this one, hooray! The shots that I've done for the corridor video have all worked. They're all approved. They're all rendered. That's great. It's not all the shots that I have to work on, but it's the ones that I've submitted so far. Those have all been finalized and they're already rendered. That's good news. We love that. A fun little fact though, I'm doing all the animation for this project in Unreal Engine. I had a choice. I was given skinned models, basically, these like meshes that were, you know, they deform, they have bones, they have skeletons, and technically they were, some of them were rigged in Blender, like there was a rig available to me in Blender, and I could have chosen, like, did I want to animate in Blender, animate in Maya, animate in Unreal, like where do I want to animate? Cinema 4D, and I chose to animate in Unreal Engine. And I rigged and animated the characters in Unreal. And it's been going great. I've really been enjoying it. I feel like it was definitely the right choice for this project so far. Currently dealing with one of the assets that's not working great though with the rig, and I'm trying to solve that problem. It's definitely a me problem. I don't know what's broken and I don't know what I need to fix, so I'm trying to figure it out. I tend to annoy people when watching movies because I'm constantly wondering how the VFX is done and how cool the environment and lighting is. When I watch a movie, we don't talk. No talking in my movie. I can't handle it. When like if you're watching something, like if you're watching like there's like casual viewing of like, oh, you just kind of put it on in the background, doesn't matter. But if there's like, oh man, I've been wanting to watch this movie. Oh, I've been waiting to watch this TV series. Like, oh, I've been so excited for like, to play this game, whatever it is. I want to be so fully immersed in that experience. I want the biggest, best screen available to me. Doesn't mean it has to be the best screen in the world, right? It just means whatever I have available to me, I've got to pick the best one. If I have the option for like a good sound system, gotta have it, right? Like if I only had one chance to watch something, and it was like I have to watch it on my phone, I'd watch it on my phone because if I only have the one chance, then I'll do my best. But like if I'm at home, or if I have the ability to be home in the near future, I'm never gonna watch a movie or a show or something that I've been like waiting to watch. I'm never gonna watch it on an iPad. I'm never gonna watch it on a phone or on a plane. Like it's got to be on like this on the TV. And I don't have like that crazy of a like sound system, and the TV's not. I don't know. It's not. I'm not like ridiculous. It's just I'm always gonna choose the best thing, and when I watch it, don't speak to me. Don't talk. Shush. We're watching. This is how they intended us to experience it. So when people are like talking in movie theaters, it drives me crazy. So I half the time I can't go to movie theaters anymore because like, especially after COVID, people are weird now. Like people don't know how to be in a movie theater. People are talking, they got their phones. Can't handle it. Even before, even before COVID, it was during Avengers. It was Infinity War or Endgame. I think it was Infinity War. I don't remember. During one of the event, yeah, no, it was Infinity War. We're watching Infinity War. It's close to the end of the movie. Things are going down. Somebody in the row in front of me pulls their phone out like during like action scenes. Like there's like stuff happening. They're like battling Thanos and like they like drop a moon on him. They're doing all this stuff. There's like a slight lull as like the pacing kind of pauses for a second. This person pulls their phone out in the row in front of me. Of course, full brightness. Big old yellow screen as they open Snapchat. And they start scrolling on Snapchat, the white screen. I took the biggest grip of popcorn and just hurled it. And I just started throwing popcorn at this person. And they like, you know, they like put their phone away and got all in like, and I was this close to take like I was like I don't want to waste all my popcorn. There's a certain amount of popcorn I'm willing to waste. And I was approaching the limit to where I was like, if it doesn't work by this point, I grab the drink. I was so frustrated. I was so mad. I was like, no. In like anyway, I can't handle when people are like talking in movies and have their phones, whatever. So I'm not fun to watch movies with. If you're not that kind of person, then you won't enjoy watching movies with me. But if that's how you are as well, then we'll get along great in a movie theater because we'll both just like sit and it's like, you know, we can like share a glance and like, oh, did you see that? Crazy. We're not going to discuss it until the end. Anyway, I want to rant. Oh, whoa, there's a bunch of, I've missed a bunch of messages. Da, da, da. It was from like 6 years ago. Wanting to build a computer. Was looking for advice about PC builds for an animation production instead of gaming. Ah, that makes sense. Okay, it was from like, so it was, yeah, that's an old video. I hope, oh, that's an old video. I hope that you didn't take what I said in the video too seriously today. Like, I hope you got a second opinion because that is an old and outdated video. And that was also before I knew a lot of stuff. Like, I was sharing what I knew at the time. And at the time, I think a lot of what I said was accurate. At the time, Intel was king. And I think in the video, I even say, like, oh, I'm only going to talk about Intel CPUs. Like, I'm not really going to talk about AMD. I don't remember what I said. It was like, we don't need to worry about that right now. That couldn't be so, that like, that's so not true today. Like, AMD is a great option. And depending on what you're doing, it might be the best option. It might not be, but it might be. Just kind of depends. But, yeah. And I remember people, as the years have gone on, I get comments on that video every so often. It's like, oh my God, those guys are not talking about AMD. Like, who is, it's like, this is a 6-year-old video. Like, I wouldn't say that now. But anyway, all that to say, I hope that the video was helpful in some way, but that you didn't take it too seriously because it is old, and I hope you were able to recognize that it's outdated. So hopefully, but um, but yes, I pride myself at this point on looking at technology from an artistic perspective and a production standpoint instead of like the gaming angle. That's like I really enjoy that because everyone else is focused on gaming, so it's like fun to look at the other side of it. And so I'm glad that that was a thing that you valued and that you found and that you recognize. So thank you. And I really need to update that video and make a new version. I have an animation question, if you don't mind. I don't mind. I'm working on an animation assignment, and my instructor said that the hand motions are too symmetrical while she's speaking. How do I avoid this issue? My guess, off the top of my head, I'm assuming that your professor is talking about twinning. That's probably what's being discussed, right? That the hand motions are too symmetrical while speaking. So my guess is this. I mean, I could be off. Let me know if I'm not talking about the right thing. But usually, when somebody gets that note, they're being told that, oh, your animation's got a lot of twinning in it. And what that means is, if I'm talking like this, I'm basically doing the same poses with both of my hands with roughly the same timing. And if both of my hands are doing kind of the same thing, maybe there's a little bit of offset here. Maybe they kind of hit at slightly different times. One on this side has a little bit more overshoot than the other one. But in general, everything I do is the same, right? That's twinning. It's a lot of this, it's a lot of this, it's a lot of this, da, da, da. And what that usually happens is when you are animating and you're grabbing both arms at the same time and then you're kind of keying them together. Or maybe it's not that you're keying them together. I mean, often it is. But sometimes what happens is you go to a keyframe and you set a pose on everything and you like, all right, I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to go up because I'm going to come down. And so you go to frame 10 and you go up, and then you move the other arm and you go up, but you go like a different up. And so they're a little bit different, but they're not the same. I didn't grab them both at the same time and move them together, but like, oh, they're both kind of doing their thing. Maybe there's, I've got some asymmetry here. And then you go to another frame, go to frame 15, and you bring this down and you go like this. Ha! And then you take this one and you have it go here. And it's like, they're different, but they're similar, right? Because you're going to the same frames and doing similar things with both. So there's kind of that spectrum of like, how bad is the twinning? Like, are you literally grabbing both arms and doing the same thing with each arm and each hand? That's true twinning. Or is it like, they're close, but they're not exactly the same? It's still pretty symmetrical. It's still pretty flat. And so hopefully that discussion gives you some ideas of like, you don't really want to like do that and use, don't grab both and just kind of like leave it with that. Hi, you don't have to spam. If you keep spamming, I'm going to mute you. So, hello. Bye, brother. That was funny. Um, yeah, you guys don't have to like send the same message over and over. I'm going to see it. I work through from top to bottom. So I'll get there. Let's see. I'm in, where's the question? Where was the question I was answering? Let me go back up. Da-da-da-da-da. How to avoid the issue. So you avoid the issue by not doing that. But what to do instead is, it kind of depends. I saw someone else say something in there, acting it out and taking some reference. Absolutely. Um, if you're just kind of like working off a line of dialogue and you're just staring at the computer and you're just looking at your character rig, typically the ideas that come into your head are going to be very cliche actions. If someone says, I don't know, I'm so angry, grr, right? You're going to get, I'm so angry, grr. Like, you're just going to get very like, oh, angry. I'm thinking, like, I'm happy. Like, you're just going to get really boring. All right. You're going to get really boring default, just cliche acting choices. So what you should always try to do is like look at reference, like film your own reference, or look at movies, look at great actors, look at just people in the world, and just like find other stuff to do. I have a whole video on my channel on subtext. It's an interview with JP Sands. Wonderful video. You should watch that. So go to my channel and search subtext, S-U-B, text, one word. And that'll help a lot of like how to actually figure out like what should you be doing instead of these like generic gestures. But ultimately, the short answer to your question is you want to have different parts of the body doing different things, not just arbitrarily to make them different, but based on things like subtext. But you should basically be treating every part of the body with its own timing, because different things happen at different times with different velocities, with different weight. And so even if you have a pose that's roughly similar and I'm kind of going like this, I can have my hands do kind of the same thing for a little bit, but then they've got to do other stuff at some point. Maybe one of them starts doing this pose while the other one's, not doing that pose. It's hard to think about it and try to explain it. But anyway, that's a bunch of talking around your, hopefully that was helpful. I found your video on Disney. Oh, nice. On the Disneyland video. That's a good one. Found your channel when I was looking for animation workflow. Oh, the workflow video. That's a fun one. How to Become an Animator, Episode 1. A classic. Favorite, most useful enemy with IK and FK. Oh, interesting. That's a good one. That's one that I think I should update too. Fun fact, if anybody here is familiar with my How to Become an Animator series, like the original videos, the original episodes on this channel, where I was literally just sitting on a couch and just telling my story of like how I started animation and got to DreamWorks and that kind of thing. I've been thinking about returning to that format just for fun for a couple of videos and just like updating the story and sharing other stuff that happened along the way. Like I haven't done that in I don't know how long, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to just like return to the beginning and just do that. Just like tell a campfire story. Oh, hello. Sure. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Da, da, da. Let's see. I want to make more. Blah, blah, blah. I want to. Sorry, if you've recently sent a message, just know that I'm working through the ones in order, and I'll get down to the new ones in a second. I'm a little bit behind. Uh, I want to make my portfolio website as a 3D environment artist. The problem is that most of them are still renders. Wait, I want to make my portfolio website as a 3D environment artist. The problem is that most of them are still renders. Is there a reason why you can't animate a camera moving through it? Or just like, kind of like spin your environment or something like that? Like maybe you're not familiar with animation to like animate a camera or something? I'm not sure. But yeah, if you are trying to do 3D environment art and you feel like the still renders are holding back your portfolio, then you should totally do some animated camera stuff. And if your environment is difficult to render in your tool of choice, like I don't know what you're using, but for example, if you were doing it in Maya and like you needed better lighting or something, you could always export it to Unreal or to Blender or something. I don't know. Found your channel when you uploaded animation workflow and Unreal stuff. I do a lot of Unreal animations, which aligns with my interest. Oh, nice. Yeah, you'll like the stuff that I'm working on now then, which hopefully I'll post soon. I try not to talk, but some things are just cool to me. Yeah, always off. You inspired me to you inspired me to join Anim School. Currently in body mechanics class. Any tips? Ooh, that's cool. I really like the people that over at Anim School. Let's see. You inspired me to join Anim School. Currently in body mechanics class. Any tips? Any tips for body mechanics? Lots. I mean, sure. give me like a give me a more narrow part of the category. Um, Tips for body mechanics. I mean, trying to give you something useful. I would say, just like off the cuff, one of the best things you can do, two of the best things that you can do if you're learning body mechanics right now. One is to use a variety of body types in your animation. I made the mistake as a student of just always using the same rig over and over because I got comfortable with it. And I was like, yeah, it's just like the default, like skinny twig character. And like, I never animated a heavy character and I never animated like a light character. And I never animated different like physical characters. And so I never got to like practice that early on. And I think that was a mistake. You want some variety. You want to be able, because the thing is like if you have I think because I knew if I stick with the one like little skinny character that I was animating, you know, he can like move quickly, he can move slowly, and it's like there's not like really a right or wrong answer to what he should or shouldn't be doing. It's a little bit more subjective. But like a big heavy character, like there are some rules. A big heavy character has to feel heavy, and so I think I knew it would be a little bit harder. Don't shy from the challenge. Like take it on. You should be doing that. The other thing I would say is timing and weight are your most important things to work on and to learn. And so, any opportunity to, if you get feedback on timing or weight, really pay attention and really try to soak up what you're being told. Because body mechanics is all about timing and weight. And it's timing and weight per body part, not like the whole thing all at once. That's probably another really useful tip. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to participate in this live. What's the subject? Just talking, just hanging out. Mostly animation, because that's what I cover most of the time on my channel, but talk about anything. 7 workflows professional animators. Hey, sir, I have a question for you. What character from the animation history would you love to animate and under whose supervision? Ooh, interesting question. What character from animation history would you love to animate and under whose supervision? Hmm. I mean, there's characters that I really like love to watch. And like my brain goes there first. Like the first character I thought of was Hades. Because I love Hades. But that's a 2D animated movie, and I'm not a 2D animator, and like I'm not that good at drawing. So like, would I really want to work on Hades on a 2D movie? Under like, probably not. Um, but in the spirit of your question, Hades is the first character that came to mind. What character of animation history would you love to animate under whose supervision? I don't think I have really a under whose supervision answer. I mean, I like a couple, like for sure, I've got names flashing in my head, but like just because they're people I haven't worked under before that I like and I respect their work and I feel like it'd be like cool to like hear from them and get their feedback and stuff. Like James Baxter comes to mind. He's a strong person floating around in my head right now. But like, I don't think I would be picky about under whose supervision necessarily. Well, but what characters? I'm trying to think of other characters. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I have specific answers to that because I guess it's just you can get so much out of any character with any supervisor, provided that it's not like a weird, that it's like not one of those cases where it doesn't go well. But like, I guess I don't know enough about the behind the scenes and the production process of so many of those movies to know which one would have been great to work on. You know what? You know what? It's the same problem as Hades. It's a 2D movie, and I don't have the skills. But it's like Iron Giant. You know what? That's what I would say. I think it'd be really cool to work on a Brad Bird movie. That's not him supervising, that's him directing, so it's not exactly the same, but like I've heard only good things about working on a Brad movie. So I guess maybe that's my answer. I don't know. It's a good question. Yes, it's that. Okay, I did, but I was doing the same thing in my reference. Oh, then watch this. Yeah. If you had, so we're talking about the twinning thing. If that was the problem, watch the subtext video, and that should help. Hey, brother, can you help me? Sure. Ask your question. Maybe you asked it lower, but I'm just gonna say this tip for everybody: never ask a question. Like, never email somebody. I'm not trying to shade you, but like, never like email somebody and say, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" That was a question. You're already doing it, so just ask your question. I can't tell you how many times it's going to sound a little bit mean, but the thing is, I have a lot of emails coming in. I have a lot of messages, DMs, and I have for years. I cannot keep up with everything. I have people who I work with actively who have to pop into these live streams occasionally to be like, hey, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I owe you a reply because I'm always behind on communication. I'm just it's a lot, and I don't have anybody helping me with it. And so, um, the amount of times over the last 7 8 years where I've gotten an email where like I might get a pocket of free time. I'm like, oh, I've got like 20 minutes free to like just reply to emails or whatever I want to do, and like general miscellaneous work stuff. Before I have to get into the next actual thing I'm doing. And I remember there were times where I'd open my email and someone would have sent me something like, "Hey, like I'm an animation student. I'm trying to learn some stuff. Blah 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 blah." And I was wondering, like, can I ask you some questions? Can you help me? Da da da. And I'm like, all about it. I'm like, yeah, like I've got some free time right now. What do you got? But they never actually asked the question. They provided some information, say, "Hi, I'm a big fan. Blah blah blah. Can I ask you some questions?" If you had actually just asked your question right off the bat in that email, I would have replied to it in the moment. I would have been like, I would have actually maybe had the time in that, in those particular cases, to jump in and just like to answer it. I was like ready to do it. But the problem is, I didn't know what the question was, so I can't answer it, so I can't help you. And the amount of times at first I think I used to say, "Sure, what's your question?" But by the time they saw my email and got back to me, I was busy again. And then I never got back to it. And then I always felt bad about that because it's like I asked, like, "Oh, sure, what's your question?" And then I just ghosted. Never on purpose, but like that. So then after a certain point, I stopped doing that. I stopped engaging with those emails because it was like I don't want to end up being the bad guy by like giving you false hope and then taking it away. I'm just not going to reply because you didn't ask your question. And so I'm going to move on to other emails where I actually know what I'm doing. Because otherwise it's a wasted time. Anyway, I learned that pretty early on that like you should never message someone, "Can I ask you a question?" Just ask your question. Because that's the whole point of these things. When you've got like a live chat or whatever, like, yeah, of course, ask away. So I think you probably have answered, you probably have asked lower in the chat, but throwing that out there for anyone who needs it. Currently in class 5 of animation mentoring. I hope to see you at Lightbox. Yeah, I will see you there then. That's awesome. Class 5 I struggled with. I hope you're doing better in it than I did. Yeah, I'm doing live streams every Friday this month just for fun because I miss doing live streams. I used to be on Twitch 2 or 3 times a week for like for those who were there. I mean, there's a couple people who were in those those lives consistently. I was live for what, like 8, 10, 15 hours a day sometimes because I was typically animating in those live streams. Not always, but like most of the time I was doing something animation related, and like man, I would live stream all the time. I got burnt out eventually, and so I stopped. But I do miss live streaming, so I'm doing it for October, just every Friday in October until we get to Lightbox, and I don't think I can stream on the Friday that I'm there, but it's fun. So if you're enjoying this, come back next week. We'll do it again. I'm not sure what time. Hopefully a little earlier in the day. We'll see. I have to work on a kid's song, but I'm not sure how I should show the song with a single character. Wait, I have to work on a kid's song, but I'm not sure how I should show the song with a single character. Any advice will help. I don't know if I understand exactly what you're doing. So you're animating like a person who's singing the kid's song or who's like dancing to it or something like that? I'm assuming like the music's playing and you have one character and you're trying to just like they're making the music, and so like you don't have the full band that maybe would be what you would assume. I don't know. So I'm not entirely sure what the thing is. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I just saw the bottommost message in the chat. Uh I don't know if it's Uni? Hello. Yes, of course. You can ask me your thing. I just went on a whole rant. I'm just jumping ahead for a second. I just went on a whole rant that you should never say, "Can I ask a question?" You should just ask your question. But I'm glad to see that you are asking your question. I'll read more in a second. I'm going in order, so I'll be right back. What was the question? Somewhere, kid song, single character. I mean, if you are taking an entire like musical performance and you have one character to like animate during that thing, I guess take whatever the most prominent sounds and like most important things that you're hearing, like focus on that. Unless you're trying to, I mean, I don't know what the goal is. I assume it's for like a project like that. If you wanted to subvert the expectations, you could do the opposite. You could say, I hear drums and I hear a bass guitar and I hear a piano and all of this stuff. And then for some reason, every now and then there's like a ding, ding. Like I hear this little ding every now and then. And like maybe you have someone who's just like standing there with a, like a triangle, ding. And like all the other music's there and they're just like, ding. Like that's just all they do, you know? So you could flip it and just do the opposite. But I assume probably not what you're looking for. Hey, what's up, dude? Have you seen the new Demon Slayer movie? Insane mix of 2D and 3D animation. Love the shirt. Uh, I have not. I've never watched Demon Slayer. I know it's supposed to be really good, and it's on my list of things to watch, but I have yet to watch it, and so no, I have not. I have not seen it. I've heard the animation in it is wonderful. You know that's funny about the shirt? The shirt's cool because it's like I wear it because it's very like blender coated, right? Feels like it should be a blender shirt. I feel like I shouldn't admit this, but like I wear it because it's comfortable. I got it at a conference. I wear it because I got it at GTC. I wear the shirt because it's comfortable, and I like open source work. I think that's clever, and it makes me think of Blender. But the shirt's actually from an AI company, like an open source AI company. But that's on the back, so that's okay. We promote open source. We don't necessarily need to talk about the rest. It's just funny though. Let's see. I'm jumping back up to see what I missed in order. Do you think that learning Autodesk Maya still has meaning when there are tools like Blender that are rapidly developing and are free? Yes, Maya still has meaning for sure. You don't have to learn Maya. You can choose Blender, and you will be fine. For them, like I don't think there's any reason why you can't choose Blender. I also think that you could choose Unreal at this point. You can choose Maya, Blender, or Unreal, and as long as you can animate, you're fine. There might come a time where you have to learn one of those tools you skipped, depending on the studio you work at. And the thing is, most studios and all proprietary software based on industry software uses Maya as the comparison point. Everybody makes like, oh, you're learning Unreal? Great. We'll help you go from Maya to Unreal. Like, oh, but I'm starting in Blender. Like, oh, okay, we don't know how to help you then. Just learn Unreal, right? Like, everyone is for most, at least for most of the stuff. Like, the expectation is that you probably know Maya, but even if you have to learn something else, we're gonna compare it to Maya. That's the only downside to learning something other than Maya. But you know, they're all 3D tools. They all help each other to learn the things. So Maya is still the most robust, like resource rich tool. There's the most rigs, there's the most animation tools, there's the most support, there's the most tutorials specifically for animation topics. There's the most people who know how to help you if you have a problem. So Maya still has those benefits, but those may not last forever, you know? So there's no reason why you have to choose Maya. If you want to learn Blender. There was a time where maybe it was like, well, are you going to get a job if you're working in Blender? Like at this point, there's a ton of places using Blender. And ultimately, it doesn't matter what software you use. It's just, can you animate? If you're trying to be an animator. And if you're not trying to be an animator, but you like animation, but you want to be more of a generalist, then Blender is a great tool. Blender is a much better tool if you're trying to be more versatile. I was there at that time, you inspired me to get animation. That's cool. I've mostly been concentrating on 2D animation, but seeing what DreamWorks and Glitch have put out have been making me want to give 3D a try, at least a little. Yeah. Glitch is doing some great work. They're doing awesome. And DreamWorks has been killing it as well. Yeah, give it a shot. You know, why not? I think everybody should try the other thing. If you do 2D, you should try 3D. If you do 3D, you should try 2D. You might not be good at it, but like it's fun and it's a nice break. Like I literally this was a while ago, but like I got the cheapest iPad possible. I got like the iPad Air, which is a funny thing because like I typically have to get really expensive computers to do 3D animation at the level that I'm like working on all these hardware tech stuff. I never get to like get the cheap stuff. I always have to get like the really expensive laptop or the really expensive computer and the biggest GPU and the fastest RAM. And I typically have to stick to pretty heavy duty hardware. But when I was like, I just want to draw and Procreate. I just want to try like 2D animation and like Procreate Dreams and stuff. I just got like iPad Air, smallest one, not the mini, but like it's right here. It's like the lowest power thing I have, and it's so much fun just to draw. Actually, oh no, I don't have it on here. My wife has an iPad as well. Hers is bigger and more powerful than mine because she actually uses it for work stuff sometimes. But I just animated three different things for her this morning. That's part of the reason I was late to start this live stream. She's working on a video on her channel, and she asked me, she's like, "Oh, can you animate like a puddle splash and like a rain cloud with rain, and then what was the other thing? An umbrella." And I animated some stuff, and I did it in 2D, which it's not my skill set, but it's fun. I really enjoy it. And so I animated these elements for her to drop into her video, and so I just did it on the iPad, and it's fun. It's fun to do the other things. It's fun to do the things you're bad at too, because you don't hold yourself to such a high standard, so you won't be as much of a perfectionist about it. At least for me, that's how I feel. I struggle with that. Yeah, I hope your Friday's going well. Same. I'm a fresher, so I can make. Wait, I am a fresher, so I can make a career in animation. I think that's a question. I'm a fresher. Can I make a career in animation? If you dedicate to yourself to it, you'll have as good a chance of any as anybody. At this point with the animation industry in such a rough shape, that's my answer. That if you dedicate yourself to learning animation and getting good at it and really like learning the craft, you'll have just as good a shot as anybody. One of my favorite characters is the Croc from Peter Pan. I was looking forward to the crocodile in the Larrikins film. Oh my god, I know. Larrikins was so cool. Larrikins was so cool. I think I get sad every time I think about it. I loved what I was seeing from Larrikins. Larrikins was, for those who don't know, Larrikins was a movie at DreamWorks that was supposed to come out before How to Train Your Dragon 3. It was an Australian outback buddy comedy adventure movie, but it was also like an 80s rock ballad musical. It was a bizarre movie, but it was really funny and it was really good. Great animation, tons of characters, rigged, animated. The movie was mostly done. I think the movie was like over 70% animated. And NBC, Comcast, Universal shelved it. And they said, no, we just bought the studio. That's not what we want to lead with. But they didn't like postpone it. They were just like, meh. They canceled it. Devastating for the studio's morale. And then the artists who were really doing a lot of the heavy lifting on like the character and story side and animation and things like that, they took those assets and they made a short film called Bilby, which played in front of How to Train Your Dragon 3 in theaters. And you should watch it if you haven't seen it. Bilby is online somewhere for free. I think you can watch it. Very, very good. Really great short. And then those artists who were directing Bilby have now gone on to make The Bad Guys 1 and 2. They're wonderful. They've done a great job. Other than teaching and sponsorships, what are. Wait, hold on. Other than teaching and sponsorships, what are your other income sources? Love to know your approach in these challenging times. Well, let's see. I'm actually going to be going deep into this topic at Lightbox in case anyone is like, if anybody heard, by the way, if anybody heard that question was like, he's talking about how he makes money on the internet, I want to know the answer to that. If you want to know like an hour's worth of me talking about it and you're going to Lightbox, I have a whole talk called, what is it called? It's called The Art of Going Solo, Creating Opportunities as Artists. And it's literally a talk about that. It is a full talk about that topic. But to answer your question, teaching, sponsorships are probably my two biggest pieces of the pie. I have like a pie chart. Um, I make some money from YouTube ads, like for just like making YouTube videos, but it's not very much. Like you'd be shocked at how little it actually is. Um, uh, let's see. There's certain things that used to make more money that don't really anymore, like affiliate links. Like if everyone here was like, "Hey, what mouse do you use?" and I was like, "Oh, I use this Logitech G502 Lightspeed for most stuff, but when my wrist starts to hurt and I remember that I shouldn't be using this gaming mouse for working, I recently picked up the Keychron M5 vertical mouse. These are the two mice I use. And if I were smart, if anyone wants the link, by the way, I'll find it for you. But like if I were smart, I would put a link. I would put like an affiliate link basically that if you wanted to go buy that mouse, you could go, you'd click the link and you'd go buy it and you'd buy it for the regular price that you'd find it for. If it's on sale, great. If it's not, it's not. But then I would get a commission of the sale. It cost you no extra money, but I would get a kickback from Amazon or whoever I sent you to, whatever, platform. At this point, I would be trying not to send you Amazon links because I'm trying not to shop at Amazon, which I've been doing a very good job of not shopping at Amazon because billionaires don't need our money. They're already holding it all anyway. So anyway, I would do affiliate links. That used to make a pretty, not significant. It wasn't like a lot, but it was, a couple $100 a month of affiliate revenue. And then Amazon slashed all their rates and cut the percentages that we were making off things like tech. And so now it's not very much at all. And also, I don't promote products all that often. I really should do it more. I think a lot of times people are actually wondering like what I use and what they should buy. And I should be recommending that and providing that information because I have recommendations and I have opinions of what's good and what's bad and why. So anyway, affiliate thing is a thing, but it's not something I do very much. What else do I do? I do have some contract work that I do. It's not exactly freelance and it's not a job, but like I do projects pretty frequently. Consulting, things like that. What else do I do? I don't know. I feel like I'm always doing a bunch of stuff, but I can't actually in this moment remember what other things are on my pie chart of income sources. So that's what I've got at the moment. You guys check out my talk at Lightbox if you want more details, because I'm actually going to show different pie charts of like where I earned how much. Not how, I'm not only going to show the actual numbers, but I'm going to basically say, here's the pie chart of my income from this year, this year, this year, this year, and here's how it's changed and grown and whatever. I show all that stuff in my presentation. So if you're curious, I'll do that on Lightbox. Sorry, and if you've been asking questions and I haven't gotten your questions, I'm just really behind. I'm working my way down. I'm on my way. So let's see. Off topic, there's a message in staff chat in Discord for you. There is. That's something about the voice chat stuff. I'm so disinterested. I'm I'm so disinterested in Discord right now. I feel like I need to change it again. I'm unhappy with Discord. I feel like I need to wipe it clean again and redo it. And it's not worth the time right now. I think my permissions are messed up right now. I could look at that. Let's see. I also used you in a school discussion post as a helpful person in the animation industry. I hope I got some traffic to your channel. Oh, that's very nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Even if like one person took your advice and went and found my videos and was like, wow, this is great, then you did that person, if they think it was a good thing, then you did them a very nice service. And I appreciate you bringing them to my channel. What was the most surprising difference between working on your own projects in Animation Mentor and working in a studio like DreamWorks? Most surprising difference between working on your own projects and working in a studio environment. Huh. I mean, like, I would probably say the most surprising difference. The most surprising difference is that I didn't know what I was doing as a student, and then when you have a supervisor who's able to like guide you properly and like, hey, like, go this direction. You know what it is? You know what it is? It's not, I take it back. it's not a matter of the supervisor, because that almost makes it sound like I'm dissing the teacher. Because what I'm not trying to say is that like, oh, having a supervisor at a company is so much better because they know how to. It's not. That's not that. When you're working on a project in a school environment, you don't take it that seriously. At least I didn't, and I think that's a very common issue. When you're working on a school project, you treat it like school. One of the biggest things I see that I remember I used to do, and it was one of the biggest things I see, and it's terrible habit, is say I'm working on a shot. Say I'm a student and I'm working on a shot, right? And I'm responsible for blocking out a shot. That's what I need to be working on. I need to block out this shot, get it to a certain point, submit it for feedback, whatever. Number one, I mean, there's several things. Number one, probably I'm waiting till the last minute. I'm not making progress throughout the week. I'm waiting until the last like 2 days. And then I'm like powering through it all at the very end and going, I'm so fast. I finished it all at the very end. It's, like, oh, it's not as good as it could have been because I didn't have time to work on it, step away, come back with fresh eyes, repeat the process a couple of times, plan. Like I didn't do that in this hypothetical. And so, you know, I blitzed through it. I can see there's problems with it. I know there's things that are wrong with it. I probably could have even taken, like if I had started days earlier with that energy, like I probably could have actually gotten it to like the best I think it could be, gotten a bunch more poses in there, but like, I got it good enough and just submit. And the thing is, I can see a lot of the problems with it. I know that's not working. I know I haven't fixed that. I haven't even touched that yet. And so then I get feedback that's like, oh, that's not working. That's not looking very good. And that doesn't look like you've touched it yet. And it's like, yeah, I know that feedback. I already know that stuff. Then why'd you submit it like that? Like, that's the whole point. You're supposed to bring it to the best of your ability and then get feedback from there. But half the time people are like, I already kind of knew that feedback. Like, then you should have done something differently to have done more. So that is not a problem, so that you actually were able to fix the things that you can see. The whole point is for you to be able to like go until you can't see anything else, and then someone will show you what you're missing. Anyways, that's the first thing. But beyond that, then you get a bunch of feedback. And you're given a bunch of things like, oh, fix this, change this isn't really working, maybe do this instead, blah, 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 blah. And you basically have a checklist, right? Let's say you got 15 notes that you need to address. And I've seen this so many times, and I used to do this, and it drives me crazy to think about the fact that I would say, all right, time for the next week, time to work on the assignment some more. And I'd pull the shot back in, and I'd look at my list of 15 fixes and notes, and I would go through and I'd hit those 15 notes, you know? And I'd be like, all right, I did it. Now I submit it back for feedback. No. That's where you begin. That's like, yeah, you address the feedback and now you have to keep working. Like that's you just fixing what's wrong from last week. Now you have to actually continue working on the shot, right? You got to keep animating. You got to get closer to done. They're not going to tell you every little thing you need to do and hold your hand and like guide you of like, okay, now do this. Okay, did it. Now what? Now do this. Okay, now what? Now do this. No. They're just going to tell you what's broken. Then you fix it, and then you keep going, and you take it to the best that you can make it, and then you show it, and they go, here's what you're not seeing. Oh, yeah, no, that makes so much sense. Or, I don't know what you mean. Can you explain that? Actually, I'm not sure I understand what that is or why. Right? Like, you don't have to get it. You can ask questions, but, like, you have to take it as far as you can take it, and then get the feedback. And that's where the feedback is useful. And then you address the feedback, and then you keep going. And I think that's the biggest difference in a school environment is that you can do that kind of nonsense versus in a studio environment, you're like, this needs to get done. Like this has an actual deadline and like pressure and like, I need help. And so you go and you get feedback and you get told stuff. And then you get different kinds of feedback where it's not about fixing issues. Because once you're like working, it's not that you like your body mechanics don't suck anymore, right? Your stuff isn't broken. It's just not the right direction or whatever things. I mean, sometimes it's broken, but it's not the same. It's not like, hey, you don't understand weight yet. It's like, this doesn't show the weight that it needs to show. Here's where. You go, you're right. And so in a studio environment, it's a different kind of note. It's a different kind of feedback. And it's a more helpful feedback in that like when you're a student, you don't know how to animate properly. And so it's a lot of like technical stuff, and you're like trying to overcome working in the software. And a lot of your notes are basically, hey, you're not doing it. You're not doing it right. Where in a studio environment, it's you're doing what you're doing, but you need to do something different. So the notes are entirely different, like category of notes, and it's way more interesting. And it can be harder because like now you're invested in an idea, but the idea is wrong, and that's much harder to like change. It's like when you get an in school, the worst kind of notes are, hey, you did something, but that's not what you should do. You should do something else. It's like, oh, the thing that sucks about that isn't necessarily the idea. It's the thing that sucks about that is I have to delete keyframes. Oh, I got to redo work. It's going to take time. It's like, oh, I thought it was working. Like that's typically where people are frustrated, is because it's the time loss. Where in a studio environment, it's because you invested time in an idea. It's not about the time as much as it is about like your emotional attachment to what you were doing. And that's that thing where you like leave the ego at the door and just it's for the shot. Like anyway, hopefully that's helpful in some way. But that's my thing that I found surprising, a difference between the two that I didn't really foresee. I'm so behind in chat. How do you get a character designing job on Fiverr or Upwork? I could not tell you. I don't do either of those things. I don't do character designing stuff. I guess, you know what? I take it back. I can answer that question. If the question is, how do you get a job designing, oh wait, how do you get a character designing job on Fiverr or Upwork? The answer is design characters and put your work on your portfolio. If you're not getting hired, it's because what people are seeing isn't convincing them that they should work with you over somebody else. And so the answer is keep working on it. Keep going, keep doing it on your own. Do the work for yourself that you would like to do for other people, and then share that work on your portfolio. And once you get to a point where people start to say, "Oh, I like your stuff. I'd like you to do that for me." That means that you're finally showing the stuff at like the level it needs to be. Everybody, as you're learning, everyone's constantly trying to get a job while they're learning before you're ready. And so it's like, how do I get a job? You have to do the work first to prove that you can do the job. Then you get the job. You don't get given the job because you want it. You have to prove that you can do it, which is never fun. No one ever wants that. Like I remember being a student and applying for internships and jobs before I knew how to animate anything. And I was like, oh, I'll learn on the job. Like, I think I'd be a great intern. Yeah, but what proof do they have that I can do a single thing? So, like, you have to do the job you want to be doing and show and prove that you can do that job before they'll hire you for that job. Let's see. Besides animation, what's your favorite part of the pipeline and why? Easy. Effects. I love effects. If I could be an effects artist for some amount of time, I would do it. I'm learning Houdini. I'm trying. Got any tips to avoid rotoscoping a reference? I'm going to animate using reference for the first time, but I'm afraid that if I try to get every detail, I might just end up rotoscoping. You might. The big things you should be doing, there's two things you should be doing. You should push poses and timing as you go, but in two different ways. Push your poses as you go. When you see someone like lift their arm and then go like this, lift the arm higher, swing even more, like add some arc to it, like spice up what you see using the animation principles as you're working. That's how you push the poses as you go. And then for timing, you can either try to push it like as you're going, but realistically what I would recommend is try to retime the reference before you start animating, right? It's like if you've got a reference and you're looking at it like, yep, this is whatever, you can speed up and slow down portions of the reference to like time warp it and change the way the reference feels and speed and whatever. And you have to kind of keep in mind what you're changing, because you're going to kind of break how the weight is meant to feel. And you got to kind of remember like, okay, well, what was happening in the original thing? Like there was a bunch of frames of like this drag that happened because it was heavy. And I went, and now it's like really fast, and so it feels really light. Like, okay, I want it to still feel heavy, but I want it really fast. And you've got to remember, like in the reference, when you're when you're analyzing the reference, you have to sort of recognize, oh, I need this certain like behavior, this relationship between like the hand and the elbow and the shoulder and the chest, where it's like the character's gonna swing a bat. It's not that they like swing their arm first. That feels really weird. It feels like the bat's not weighing anything. It's not that they move their arm and their body together. Like that feels really stiff. What it is, based on the reference, I'm noticing that they pull their chest and their head and they pull their whole body, but the arm doesn't really come that far because it's got all this weight and it's got this inertia and it has to like build up speed and then it snaps ahead and then it's, it feels so powerful, right? You have to analyze that from your reference and like figure out the timing per body part of like what's going on in this motion that makes it feel the certain way. But then you can change the timing and change the amount of frames that it takes to do these actions, but you still have to keep that spirit in there. And you can literally just animate the reference by just retiming the reference so that you get that energy and you address that. And then when you're using that for animation, you have already started to push your timing, and then you can continue to do that in Maya or whatever tool. But you push your poses as you go, and you tweak your timing to make it more entertaining and more true to what you're trying to convey. And that's going to help it not feel like rotoscope. Because if you don't do those things, it will feel like you're rotoscoping. I had that experience. Thank you so much. You're great. Thank you. Um, and that's stuff I cover in my classes. So like, try it, do your thing. Maybe I've got some videos that'll hopefully help. I've got some different videos on analyzing reference that hopefully will be beneficial for that. But if that's a thing that you're like struggling with, then I have some classes for that. But I've also got free videos that cover some of it too. Learning the first, by the way, just a quick call out, since I'm like on a roll right now with questions. Just a quick call out that if anybody check the link, the pinned link in the description, pinned link over here somewhere. If you're going to Lightbox, I have a booth. I'm doing some talks. I have some other stuff going on. Fill out the form, suggest some ideas, things you'd like to see. And if you are interested in my classes, if I'm giving good tips and you're like, wow, this guy he's on to something, fill out the class form so you can see what kind of classes are coming and you can vote on the ones you want to see. I've got announcements. So forms, lots of forms. And then two other quick things, and I'm going to keep answering questions. If you're going to Lightbox, I will be looking for animators to give reviews to other animators. So if you're like, I would like a review, I don't want to give reviews, we'll get that handled. But if you're like, no, I want to give reviews, I want to be a reviewer, I'm looking for people like that. And I'm going to make a form later and I'm going to post it on Instagram and stuff, but feel free to like DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn or Discord or send me an email. And then the other thing was, I'm going to be looking for some volunteers to help me with my booth. And, not constantly, not for the whole weekend at Lightbox, but if you're going to be at Lightbox or you're in the LA area and you want to go to Lightbox and you don't mind having some pockets of time here and there where you're helping me with my booth, the exchanges, I'll give you a ticket for the weekend. But I need some help. And so that's something, I'll make a form so you can apply to that. But, again, you can submit your interest and then I'll send you the form when I make it. Like, hey, fill this out. I got to basically kind of interview people through the form. So anyway, that's some stuff not to forget while I'm answering questions. I guess you could also just fill out the Lightbox form and then just tell me those things in the notes in the bottom. There's any other things you want to share, you could just say like, ooh, I want to maybe help with those things. Let me know. Learning the first 3D software is like picking a lunch too hard and you want everything. Yeah, feels like that. Job security and animation career. How to plan solid career as 3D animator. I don't think that's something that anybody can really plan right now, honestly. The job security, the job market in animation is super rough right now. I don't think there's a way that you can plan your career stuff. The best thing you can do is just have you either have to animation is a very specialized skill set. You have to really focus on animation to get great at it. So there is a certain amount of specialization that happens in animation, but I also think it's very valuable to be versatile and to learn different tools, different workflows, different departments, if you can learn rigging, or if you can learn story, if you can have other things that you can do, if something goes up, if something goes down in the area where your job lives, your security isn't necessarily that you can stay in that role. It might be that you can pivot to a different role, or that you're able to jump to a different studio that has another opportunity that's kind of similar to yours, but it's different. But you have a skill set that allows you to say, "All right, I'm gonna still have a job that is valuable right now." So be open to many opportunities and learn from everything you do. I'm currently studying at Animation Mentor as well. Do you have any advice for us in school to be hireable or industry ready by the time we finish these programs? Honestly, the best thing I can, well, I don't know if that's the best thing I can tell you. One of the best things I can tell you, I'll tell you two things. One of the things you can do, this is not the big thing I was going to tell you, but one of the things you could do, go place, like show up. Show up is the advice. I put it in quotes because that's something I was told, like show up. And that means go to the events, like be present when you can. Like it's show up for yourself when you need yourself. It's show up for, when you're given an opportunity, show up for the opportunity. When there's an event, a networking opportunity, go, be there, bring your work, get feedback. You know, that is worth doing, like the networking side of things. And I have a video. If you hear networking and you're like, ugh, networking, gross. There's a video on my channel called "The Biggest Lie in Animation." I think it's called "The Biggest Lie in Animation." And the thumbnail I think is me like this, and there's like an X, and it says it's who you know or something. Um, Watch that video. If you feel like networking is icky, watch that video, and I will explain in that video what networking actually is and how you're supposed to do it and how it actually works. Especially if you're going to Lightbox, watch that before going to Lightbox, and it will help prep you. But the other answer, advice to be hireable or industry ready by the time we finish the programs, recognize the program will not do it for you. Going to Animation Mentor is not going to make you industry ready. It is up to you whether you are industry ready. Now, it's not like it's just a choice, and like you'll just, if you choose it, you'll be ready, right? Like you have to actually do the work, and there's a lot of factors there. It's not quite so simple, of course, but you can't expect to go through one of those programs and then just come out the other side and be just like you spit out and like, all right, you finished. You should get a job now. No, that is one of the biggest like misconceptions about animation school, and one of the things that I did not understand about Animation Mentor when I went there. And it's one of the things that I learned after I was at DreamWorks for a while. I realized Animation Mentor and other schools like it, right? As much as it seems like when you sign up, like, I'm going to go to the school and I'm going to leave ready for a job. No, you're going to leave with an understanding of what you need to do so that you can get a job. You're going to leave with an understanding of what comes next for you to do on your own so that you can get hired somewhere. Now, some people are able to do it at the same time. They're able to go through the program, realizing what they need to be doing, and they're able to do it as they go because they're working really hard and they're cranking through it, and they're also good. Like there were animators in my class who were working way harder than me, who were actively taking the lessons and like animating really cool stuff, and they were spending way more time than I was. They weren't procrastinating. Like I was a really bad student. I was pretty young when I went through Animation Mentor, but I was a really bad student when I did it, and I didn't really realize that I was. I just thought like other people in my class was like, wow, they're really good, and they were. But I was also really bad. It was both. They were really good, and I was really bad. I wasn't neutral like I thought I was. I was bad, and so I left Animation Mentor, thinking that having finished the school was going to be the thing that got me ready. And like, no, I was able to leave with the understanding of like, I know what I need to do for my demo reel to like be good, because right now it's not like that shot's bad, that shot has issues, these are the notes, these are the notes, these are the notes, these are the notes for all these different shots. Like I knew what needed to be done, but rather than doing that, I was like, I'll just apply with what I've got. I'm sure it'll be fine. I should be ready. And I wasn't getting internships. Like this was happening throughout school. Like I was never getting any offers. I was like, why am I not getting offers? Like I'm learning all this stuff because I wasn't applying it. And so there's a huge distinction in like what you need to do to be hireable. And it's not just going to the program, it's going to the program, absorbing the stuff, and then applying it on a brand new demo reel that has nothing to do with the assignments and the things you were given in school. Like those are practice. Those are for you to like get it, and then you take that and then you use it for something else. Some people are able to do both because their shots are really good, but that's not the norm. And so that's the big advice that I would say is like, especially at a school like Animation Mentor, that it's not the school that gets you ready, it's you, which is empowering, but also disappointing. But if you don't know that, you will expect too much, and then you'll be disappointed, and then you'll be frustrated when you can't get a job, and you won't understand that there is something you can be doing about it. It's not just apply, apply, apply. It's keep working. Keep applying, but also keep working. Do professional animators like yourself rely on reference for every shot? Basically, animate with zero? Can professional animators animate with zero reference? Totally. It depends on the artist. Some people struggle more than others. Some people are really good at it. It depends on like what you understand about the motion. For one thing, like on one hand, really cartoony stuff, you might not have a way to do reference for something like super zany and crazy, and that's just like a creativity thing. And so, different people are going to be better or worse at that. And then, um, some stuff is like it has to be based in reality, and so you must use reference, or you have to really understand the mechanics of whatever you're animating to where you've like memorized the mechanics. Like I was always really good at parkour shots and like the physicality animation stuff because I did parkour. I really understood what it was to do these actions, what it felt like, what it looked like, what was physically happening, and like what you needed to do, what muscles you needed to like roll across this right shoulder from like this particular muscle across diagonal to the left hip. Like I knew all these technical details of how to move and do it in real life. So posing a character to do it was easy. I knew what needed to happen, and so my parkour shots were really good, even though most of my animation was really bad. And so I used reference, but I didn't need reference as much as other people would have needed it. Even, where other people could have looked at the reference and gotten the reference wrong and been like, oh, that's what it kind of seems like. I was able to go, I must be looking at the reference wrong because I know it's not that. And I kind of tweak it like, that must be it. It must be like the angle and the perspective of the way I shot it. I can't really see this in the reference. I'm stuck. No, I know what to do because I understand it, right? So it depends on the people. So the answer is yes. You totally can animate without reference, especially when it's like cartoony stuff or stuff you understand really, really well. 100%. You don't need a reference. You are the animator. But you do need to study the stuff so that you know it. Or at least it has to be so crazy that like it's left only to your imagination. Though a reference wouldn't have helped you anyway. So, yeah. How to constrain a bat in Maya. There are two main options. There's constraints, parent constraints, and then there is Animate, which is a script that's a tool in Maya that's great. It's not free, but it's well worth it. It's not all that expensive. I cover both in extreme detail in my technical animation class. If you want to follow the link in the description to my courses, I have an inexpensive technical animation class. Inexpensive by the standards of online classes. It's meant to be affordable, but that goes through constraints like perfectly. I cover everything. But if you are looking for the free answer, I do have videos on the topic on my channel. I think there's two different constraints videos that you'll have to watch. Did I post the new one or not yet? One second. I filmed a new constraint video. I don't think I posted it yet. No, I haven't posted it yet. Dang it. I haven't edited it, I guess. Yeah, I have some videos on the topic, though. So you can watch those. If you want to go deeper, check out my class. But parent constraints are what you're looking for. And Animate has an X-form relationship tool. that bypasses constraints. It's really handy. Will your Lightbox talk be recorded? Would love to see it, but can't make it to Lightbox this year. Oh man, my Unreal Engine class I think will be recorded, but my going solo talk I've asked them not to record because I'm going to be sharing like a light amount of like financial information of like what I do and how I do it. And I want to be able to answer all the questions that people ask me. And if someone asks me a really specific question, I want to be able to give an honest answer. I don't want that stuff on YouTube if I don't control the video. I'm just not comfortable with it. So that one will not be recorded. Who do you follow for business insight? Nobody. Nobody, and that's not a flex. I think in some cases it shows. I am naturally good at a lot of business stuff. It's something I really actually enjoy and I am very good at. But for sure, there's stuff that like I would love more business insight, but I don't follow anybody for that kind of stuff. Mostly because most of the people online who do business stuff are so like loud and obnoxious in a way that I don't like. Like everyone focuses on stuff that I'm not interested in. Hustle culture, grind this, you know, monetize this and funnels and blah. And I'm not interested. It's not like it's wrong. It's just like, ugh, it's not the approach that I resonate with. So I don't follow anybody for business insight. Oh, the person about the VC? Yeah, I need to. No worries. I gotta look at that. As a tech artist, animation isn't my main thing, but I really love it and I would like to get better, but I don't have the time. I can give maximum 30 minutes a day. What type of exercise do you recommend? Hmm. Animation isn't my main thing, but I really love it and I'd like to get better at it, but I don't. Well, I mean, if you just enjoy it, 30 minutes a day is a reasonable amount. I mean, it's not a lot of time for sure, but like, it's totally fine. What type of exercises do I recommend? I mean, very small, bite sized ones that you feel that I would, if I were in your shoes, I would want to feel like I'm making actual progress and like accomplishing something most of the time and not like chipping away at a really long project over 30 minutes at a time. Like that sounds pretty unhappy. So I would want something with like a high return of like happiness. So I would do like really targeted focused assignments or exercises, like animate. Like if you only have 30 minutes, it's like you wouldn't animate like a character acting full body shot, blah blah blah. It'd be like if you want to try having a character like if you're interested in acting, animate a blink. See how far you can get in 30 minutes of a blink. Get a character to like sniffle or cough or sneeze or like or stub their toe, but just the stub the toe, not like the whole reaction. Like just like the tiniest thing, you know. Have a character snap their fingers, like, and just to focus on the hand. Like literally, the shot is the hand going like this, going. That's it. Like focus on such bite-sized little things that you can make significant progress in 30 minutes, or at least if you can't finish it in 30 minutes, it only takes a couple of days and you can probably finish it within a week. Um, don't take on anything big. Because if you enjoy it, then you should get a reward out of it, and that reward should be like finishing shots and getting to move on to other ideas. There's nothing worse than when an idea that you're excited about drags on to where you hate it. That would be my advice. Because then you don't even have to worry about reference, right? If it's just a snap, you can just stare at your own hand and get what you need and try to figure out how to translate that. Monica's going to Lightbox. Woo! Very fun. Um, hello, I'm the most excited for your wait. Hello, I'm the most excited for your constraint workflow to make body mechanics easier for a dynamic shot, like parenting the camera and the characters and creating a huge control for both. You're a legend. Have I done a video on that? Hopefully that is helpful somewhere. feel like I did something with like a dragon once. Let's see. Hope I can get it to Sony one day. I believe in you. You can do it. The future of a career in CG is to make your own content and be a team of 1 to 3 people. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I don't think every project is going to work that way, but I think there's a lot of people who will succeed in that sort of environment. And that is what people should be trying to build more than a lot of people currently are now. Hi there, I love all your videos. Thank you. I do have a question. Despite seeing many tutorials, I have a hard time dealing with constraints. How do I practice using props? I'm just feeling less overwhelmed. I understand. My I never never like answering a question like this with like, go buy my class. Because it's not the only option. It's not the only answer, for sure. But it is the answer that will answer all your questions. So just like as a first answer, if you're struggling with constraints, in my link down there, the courses.surway.com, I have a technical animation class that I just taught in July, I think. And I haven't updated the website, so the website's going to say like technical animation skills is back, now enrolling, coming soon. Like it's like it'll have the dates and it'll say July. We're well past July. I just haven't updated the site, but I haven't actually taken down the ability to sign up for the class. So what you'll end up signing up for is you'll have like Zoom recordings essentially of the class that I taught over the summer. And so it's not a clean recording. It is like a Zoom class that you missed, but like I go through everything in such detail. Like I cover everything about constraints. So if you're struggling with constraints, that will answer everything and you'll have it and you'll have those videos forever. But I do have some videos on my channel. And to answer your actual question, how do I practice using props? There are a couple of different kinds of constraint setups. And there's different like levels of how correct you want your constraint setup to be. How bulletproof do you want that constraint setup to be? Because for a lot of shots, the most important thing when you're figuring out like constraint shot stuff is like planning your shot, looking at your shot before you begin and figuring out like what kind of constraint setup do I need or might I need is important. Because if I'm like, oh, I have a character who's holding a pen. If I know that they're holding the pen and they never let go of it, then I don't even need a constraint setup. I could just parent the pen to one of the finger controls and it'll follow it and it'll work just fine. But if anything changes and it turns out, ooh, I need to have them let go of the pen for some reason, they have to toss it in the air, they're going to like spin it in some interesting way, they're going to hand it here, they're going to drop it, they are going to kind of go, oh my gosh, and like they're going to do some kind of weird little graspy thing with it. There is a way to brute force work around that stuff, but like it's never advisable. If I make any changes to where it's like, oh no, I need to be able to disconnect these objects and have them independent, then a parent constraint does not work. And if I had done that, it's going to make my life harder to have to now backtrack and figure out how to switch it. And so figuring out ahead of time, no, I need a constraint setup. Do I need a good constraint setup? Or can I get by with the kind of a weak constraint setup? It's the same thing over and over. Because if you know for sure, like, well, I'm for sure not going to do anything complicated. I do need to have them like let go, but that's kind of it. I just need them to like put it down or pick it up. It's like, okay, then we can do like, you know, a decently good constraint setup, but we don't have to go crazy. But it's like, oh no, I want the flexibility to have my character pass it from hand to hand, drop it, pick it up, grasp it in the same hand. Oops, I dropped it entirely this time. Kick it with my foot, pick it up with my left hand, hand it to my right. If I want the flexibility to do whatever I want with it, then I need a pretty advanced constraint setup. And it's not that it's like really advanced. It's just I need to have a really well thought out constraint system that's very flexible. And there's like a bunch of steps that need to happen for that to work. And so, anyway, your question, how do you practice? What I'm trying to say is identifying, like understanding how constraints work, like really understanding how they work and how they think, and like how Maya sees constraints will help you to know like which setup you need and how complex the setup needs to be for what you're trying to do. And then beyond that, how you then practice that once you know which one to practice, you really just like, you could literally just sit there and be like, I've got this setup. I've got a character with a pen. I'm going to just link them together and like do all my little tests. And like you could technically just like, practice it that way. But again, it's kind of similar to the other advice I gave, which is like small tests. You practice it in small bursts. Don't have some like, I'm going to practice by having some crazy thing where the person's riding a horse and then they jump off and they grab the bottom of the airplane and blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't build this whole thing that requires you to have the most advanced system ever and like throw yourself into the fire so that you'll learn. It's really just like, okay, like let me just see if I can have a person pick something up and not run into any problems. Or I'm given feedback and it's like, oh no, I was given this note. Good thing I built my constraint in a way that like supports the note, because this would be really hard if I hadn't thought of this. So, that's kind of a, I hope that answers your question of like how to practice. It's kind of hard to say like how exactly to practice, because it's like, what do you practice? Like really the best thing to practice is understanding how constraints work and when to use certain levels of complexity. And that's essentially where I start with my class, and that's why I talk about it so much, but hopefully that's kind of helpful. I'll say one thing just like off the bat though, is dealing with a prop that has been like referenced in from another file versus dealing with a prop that's just like a piece of geometry in the scene, like a cube or something. Like I downloaded a sword and I referenced in that sword versus it's a cube that kind of looks like a sword. Drastically different. Oh, it's not drastically different setups, but it feels drastic when you don't know the system very well, because it's like one feels a lot easier and then one feels like you're doing all these extra steps just to do what we did the first time. It's kind of true. It's a weird thing. So it's like, again, understanding how they work and understanding like when to use which ones. That's the thing to practice. Man, I can empathize. When I graduated AM in 2018, I felt it was all I needed to finally break into the industry. I learned the hard way that it was just a stepping stone, albeit an important one. Yeah, 100%. Education is important. School is not necessarily important, but education is important, right? You don't have to go to a specific school. You don't even have to go to a school, but you do need to get educated. But that's all it is. It's education. It's not actually the preparation for the job. There is a gap there that you have to fill to prove that you have learned and can then apply beyond a school environment. And that's what school does not give you. And you have to demonstrate that. And everyone gets blindsided by that as well. Shameless plug. My friend Catherine is doing a talk on Friday at Lightbox called The Business of Animation 101. Oh, I think. Wait, The Business of Animation 101. Is that. No, I'm thinking of a different one. That's interesting. The Business of Animation 101. She and her fiance found and run an animation studio. That's cool. I want to see that. Business of Animation. I'd watch that. I might go to that talk. That sounds cool. Um, because I've had some experience running an animation studio and didn't go so well. So I probably could have used that talk earlier. Do you have any advice for? Oh wait, hold on. I skipped one. Use animation survival kit exercises. That's also an option. Do you have any advice for landing an internship, specifically for local studios who may not have listings for internship positions? Who may not have listings? I mean, for sure, the first step is to like email them or call them or something. For sure, like social media. I mean, email is probably the first thing. Email, LinkedIn, social media, calling if that's even an option. Like right off the bat, if you have a like a local studio who doesn't have listings written anywhere, you should for sure reach out and ask about it and say, hey, I'm really interested in working with you. I've noticed that you don't have listings for internship positions, but I'd love to be considered if those are if those are offered at any point. Where can I keep up to date? Never be like, can you send stuff to me when you have it? Like never ask them to like ongoingly do things, but say like, how can I stay connected to what you're doing? How can I how can I continue to take the initiative is really what you're asking. You're never like, hey, can you make sure that I have what I need and do extra work for me? You usually want to phrase it in a way that's more like, hey, I'm really interested in being a part of your team. How can I best take the initiative to show you that I'm serious and to like be ready for any opportunity that might come and make sure I see that opportunity? You know, I've looked at some stuff and I haven't found the right answer yet. Do you have additional insights for me? That's how I would phrase that kind of an email. But that's the first step for sure. Hey, Jason, stopping by. No worries. Thanks for coming. um, so yeah, that's the first thing. And then in general, landing an internship, I mean, for sure, like, even though resumes are not the most important thing, you should have a decent resume. Make sure you spelled everything correctly. Make sure you have like correct punctuation and that your resume shows that you are literate. I've seen a lot when I helped with a lot of the intern for our department at DreamWorks. I was very involved with hiring the interns and helping pick the interns based on the resumes. I loved it. I loved like going through the resumes and that kind of thing. That's why one of the first classes I ever did online was a resume and cover letter workshop. Very fun. It's actually I don't think it's available anymore. Because I let my Vimeo stuff expire. And so anyway, the the one of the biggest things that shocked me was how many people like spelled DreamWorks wrong, and then they say in there like attention to detail. Okay, so have a halfway decent resume because if you don't, it's just going to disqualify you. It's not like you like if you have a bad resume, you're out. It's just like if you don't know how to spell the studio's name, then like no one's really going to take you that seriously. Beyond that, best way to get an internship again is just show a passion and an interest in the type of work. It doesn't have to be the same work, but the type of work that you want to do, that they are looking for a role within. Don't feel like you need to like mold yourself to their application, what you think they want to see. Don't do that. Just like do the stuff you want to do the work that you want to get hired for or that you want to explore, and put that out and show them that and say this is what I'm actively doing because I care. If you have someone who has like a really impressive resume, but like it doesn't seem like they're actively doing the stuff, it just seems like that's just like what they're studying and they've done a good job of studying, it's like, okay. But if you have someone who's like they're making films and they're trying this and like they're passionate, it's like if someone who's just like they just want to be creative and so they're just trying to make stuff. It's kind of like that thing of like that's two extremes, right? Someone who's just like very academically studying animation and they're interested in it, but they're like not really demonstrating that much of a passion for it versus someone who's like I spend every day like I don't know. When you can see that passion and that energy, it's like that's the person that you want to work with. You're like I want to help you grow because you clearly are going to like take this opportunity and make it into something, and you're also probably going to help us with whatever it is we need. And so that's the energy you want. Man, I am not catching up with these messages at all. So slow. It would be nice. It would be nice if Maya would be more like Fusion 360, a free version just to get people into Maya, so if they can use it enough, they can buy. I miss when Maya was free for students without an EDU account. I think that was one of the dumbest decisions they could have made was to get rid of the EDU or to get rid of the to make you have to prove that you're a student. I think software like that there should be a free version of Maya for animation for like whatever. I mean, there's Maya Indie. Maya Indie is a much more affordable version of Maya, but I miss the days where you could just get a student version for free without proving it. In addition, what are ways to stand out when applying to Pixar DreamWorks esque internship? Mm, it's the side projects. You stand out through the side projects, 100%. There's little things. Oh, your resume is colorful, or, like. But really, you stand out through the extracurricular projects, the stuff that you're doing on the side. That's the good stuff. That's the passion. Do you think aspiring animators should just focus on animation, or should they also take time to learn the basics for other steps in the pipeline? I think I think both. I think at this point there was a time where animators were told just animate. You want to animate, just animate. I think at this point you should be aware of adjacent departments and you should learn some of the basics of other things because it will make you more well-rounded. You'll be able to talk to other departments better. You'll be able to communicate more effectively with a team and you'll be more useful to a team that maybe has a more tight budget and can only hire one person and you might be the best animator of the group, but like they need you to do a little bit more than just animate, or like it would actually help them out a lot if you could. You could assist the department. It's like you don't have to do that, but I think at this point in time, I think having a little bit of a generalist skill set is very valuable. I found that for myself. A lot of stuff I get asked to do is not animation, and it's really helpful to be able to do those things. We have some good questions today. I am. How long have I been streaming for? Way longer than I intended. How long have I been going? Where's the timer? 2.5 hours. I've been going for over 30 minutes more than I thought. Actually, more than an hour longer than I expected. But you guys have good questions today. We'll keep it going until I can't do it anymore. By the way, I haven't slept since yesterday. I've been up all night. It is now about 4 p.m. I think I took a meeting yesterday at like 3:30. I think I had a meeting yesterday at 3:30. So I have been effectively sitting in this chair now for over 24 hours. A couple breaks here and there, but I've mostly been sitting in this chair for over 24 hours and have not slept. And I still got the good answers to these questions. Give me a hard one. I am finding it difficult to read though. I don't know if you're like seeing me like struggle to like look. You know what? I'm gonna be old and I'm gonna like increase the size of my chat window so I don't have to work so hard to read. Oh, that's better now that I'm 80. All right, back to my questions. Back to your questions. Back to my answers. Where was I? I'm currently working in a studio here in my country, but it's not my dream studio. I've never attended Animation Mentor, but I do meet some industry professionals who give me reviews. Can I get an impressive demo reel to land a better job? Oh, of course. Yeah. You don't have to go to a school. You don't have to go to some online animation school or something. You certainly don't have to go to Animation Mentor. You're working in a studio. You're already, you know, competent enough to be hired. That's great. Been up your dream studio. Let's see. You do that. That's awesome that you're getting to meet industry people who give you reviews. That's super important. That's one of the best ways to get better. You know, is to be taught stuff and shown stuff and pointed out what's currently beyond your viewpoint. Can I get an impressive demo reel to land a better job? 100%. I mean, the thing to do is like whatever you feel like you're lacking in, whatever things that you feel like you're not very good at, you should be working on those things. It's hard when you have another job and it's like kind of burn out a little bit, but like that's the thing. If you have something you're really excited about or passionate about, great, pursue it. If you have stuff that you're like afraid of getting assigned because you're like, oh, I'm not very good at hands. I don't really want to do like this complex hand animation shot. I'm just gonna do something where the hands like go behind the back so I don't have to worry about them. Probably means you should start animating some hands because if you can work on those extra things that intimidate you, that's one of the quickest ways that you can level up. And that kind of stuff is going to show in your other work that you're already doing because it means that you're actively avoiding really messing with those things because you know there's something missing there. So if you can fill in those gaps, it's going to go a long ways towards making your whole portfolio feel that much better. If you keep getting a little bit better at the stuff you're already decent at, it's not as big of a difference for your demo reel as if you go from like, yeah, I don't really know how to do this to like, I'm competent. It proves to the studio, like, look what I can do. Like, oh, good. We didn't see them animating any hands before. Don't know if you could do it. Now we can see you can do it. Like, it's a big change. Versus, oh, your mechanics are a little bit better. What's up, Menji? How you doing? Definitely got some clarity. Thank you for answering the question. Hope to get to your course someday. Yeah, I hope and for the record, I have a constraint video that I filmed. I haven't edited it yet, but I have it somewhere and I need to get to that. But yeah, I have another video on constraints. Excuse me. I have another video on constraints that should come probably, honestly, it'll probably come either in November or more likely in December. I'd really like to get it out though. It's a really good video. It's a lot of footage. It's so much footage. I got to edit it down. Hello, last Friday when you were live, I asked you about the progressive walk cycle. I was able to fix the sliding. It is sliding much slower, but is still a little sliding. Um, well, if your feet are in linear when they're like, if they're like sliding, like they should be in linear for the part where they're stationary on the floor. Beyond that, what else could it be? If you're using infinity curve with offset, it could mean that your offset is slightly off. It's not actually syncing up properly, and then over time, that little distance offset gets more and more pronounced. That could be a thing. They are linear. Okay. I would check the offset thing, but if that's not the problem either, mm, what you could do at that point, it's hard for me to say what it could be at that. Like, I think it's one of those things. And if it's not one of those things, then it's almost impossible for me to just guess what it would be because it could be any number of other weird stuff depending on like the rig or your workflow or whatever. But if you hit this point where you're like, huh, my usual go to troubleshooting steps aren't, they don't seem to be the answer. What do you do? How do you make sure? And what I would say is that's where Animbot comes into play. That is where you want to use Animbot because if you have foot sliding, you can just convert the feet in whatever space they're sliding in, convert them to world space, bake them back into world space, and then wherever they're sliding, you'll see a curve editor. Like you'll see the graph editor moving where it's like, oh yeah, they're sliding up the thing. Just lock all that back to the same value and they won't slide anymore. You can even put it back out of world space if you want to at that point. But um, that's where Anabot comes in to say like, oh, I'm having a problem. Not really sure where it's coming from. Remove the problem. It's great. I asked ChatGPT and it says that it happened and I have to write some mail expression for it. Can you please guide a little? I don't know what ChatGPT is telling you to do. You don't need to write a mail expression for it. I mean, maybe that is a potential solution, but that's not going to be the solution that you need. ChatGPT does not know how to animate. Sometimes there's some useful information that it might point you in a good direction for troubleshooting, but ChatGPT doesn't know. And I'm not like, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. I don't know. I understand the utility of ChatGPT for certain things, but for animation, I'm not really interested in entertaining it. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't personally think it's a very good idea to run your animation problems by ChatGPT. It's not like you shouldn't. You can. If you're really stumped and you can't find the answer, maybe it'll figure out like where, it'll find some source, find some article, find something where it's like, oh, here's the script. Like, oh my gosh, I never would have found that. That is so much quicker. Sure. But in general, I wouldn't run this up by ChatGPT because that is a really, really, really important skill in animation is to figure out how to troubleshoot specific weird issues in your 3D software, especially when you're working with proprietary tools or cutting edge technology that's being actively developed where there is no physical way that AI could possibly know the answer because there's nothing to train it on. The stuff's brand new. And if you don't have that skill set of troubleshooting and solving those problems, you're out of luck. Like getting and keeping a job is going to be a real tough time. That's my opinion. But again, there's been times where like I've been super stumped and I'm like, I'm going to ask ChatGPT like early on years ago at this point. I was like, Let me ask ChatGPT. And it gave me some helpful stuff, and it didn't give me the answer I needed, but it kind of led me in the right direction to find the answer that I needed. So it was helpful. But in general, pursue other sources. Um, that's my opinion. And also, that might have been a little off topic for your question, but just as a general thought that I'd share. I'm studying computer science at my university, and it's killing me. In my senior year, they're trying to make the best to the end. Hey, I was computer science before I dropped out and went to animation. So I understand that. I liked it. I did not love it. And I think if I'd stuck with it, I'd probably feel like you feel. Is it because it's hard and it's just like difficult, or is it because you're not really enjoying it and you're just like, I'm this close to finishing, I may as well finish it? I'm assuming it's the second one. And if that's the case, I hope it feels like it flies by and that you can move on to something that makes you happier. Maya was free at one point. No, Maya wasn't free. Maya had an educational student license that was free. Like Maya still has a free educational license, but in order to get it, you have to use a .edu email from some organization. Like if you community college class, for example, you could take a community college class anywhere, get a .edu email, and with that you can get a free license to Maya. So you used to not have to prove it. You used to not have to use the edu email. You would just say, I'm a student. And they'd say, okay, here's a free license to Maya. And it was a free student license that had a little pop up every time you'd open or save. It just said, this is a non commercial version. But it wasn't like locked or anything. It was just non commercial. They changed that to where you now have to prove that you're a student with an edu email. That's the change they made. But they also provided an alternative to the really expensive commercial grade Maya, where we have Maya Indie. That's what I've had for years. So in the link to all of my videos, I have a link to Maya Indie, which is the more affordable indie independent artist license. If you make less than $1 million using Maya, you're eligible to use that license, and it's like $300. It's the standard cost of 3D software that requires payment. Maya, Cinema 4D, Houdini, these tools all require money, and they're all ballpark the same price. And so it's a reasonable option that if you're gonna get Maya and you're not a student, then that's what I would recommend. And if you use my link in the description, it's one of those affiliate links, and I get a little commission from Autodesk. It doesn't change your price, but we get to take some of the money back from the big company and give it to me, which is nice. Because Autodesk is laying a bunch of people off and spending all their money on AI. So if you must pay them, you should use my link so that we can take some of that money back and give it to me so that I can spend it on things for you. Because that's what I do with the stuff I earn on this channel. I try to reinvest it into stuff that's going to help people, which is what I'm doing at Lightbox. Uh, Scroll up a little bit. Uh, I use my Indie, but I love Blender more and about to try Unreal more. Totally fair. Yeah. I use my Indie too, but I also like Blender for a lot of stuff. Some of that stuff a lot more than I like it for Maya. Just depends on the topic. And I'm doing a ton in Unreal. So I am very tired. I'm a self-taught 3D generalist with animation experience. After years of work, I want to deepen my knowledge and fill some gaps. Should I start with the basics or advanced classes? Basics. Always basics. There's never an answer that I wouldn't say basics. Even if it's repetitive, even if you've done some of it before, it's always beneficial to revisit the basics and the fundamentals with animation, especially if you're in a new educational space. For example, if you'd already learned, if you had a full animation degree from some college and you were finding my YouTube channel for the first time and like, wow, this guy's videos are pretty good, I would tell you, you probably should start at my first basics fundamentals class because I would guarantee, even if you have some degree from a college, like I will show you stuff in the first class that school never showed you. And that's not me being like ego-y about me. It's just that typically that's the problem with like most schools and universities is that like they're not Like they're not as it's just that's kind of the rep they have. It's like you might go to a school and get a degree and spend a bunch of money for animation and then finish and go, huh, well, that's a lot of money I'm in debt now, and I'm not getting a job. I guess I'll go start at the beginning of an animation school now or something, or take one of my classes. It's a very common thing because they just don't have the information. So, um, I would always say the basics because it's always beneficial. It's never a bad idea. Because it's a bad idea if you pay money and go to the advanced class and then you realize later, I wasn't ready for it, I'm not getting enough out of it, and I'm actually not actually progressing. That's worse. My Achilles heel is acting shots, so I got an Alexi Wanoroy facial and acting animation course. He is fantastic. Alexi is great. I fully endorse Alexi as a teacher. I learned a lot from him. He's fantastic. So I hope that was a helpful class for you. That's probably that. I think I've seen that course on like Instagram ads or something. He's great. Question two. Hope you get some rest soon. I'm in a bit of a conundrum right now. I got burnt out after finishing college. I'm stuck between working on my reel and just learning to love this again. I understand that. Wait, so what is the question? Kind of like how to deal with that. I got burnt out after finishing college. I'm stuck between working on my reel, learn to love it again. Uh, that's a tough one. I feel like I have a couple answers to that. If you feel burnt out after finishing college, chances are, and I could be wrong, I could be off base here, but chances are some aspect of your school was, if not toxic, then like bad. That might not be the case, but I would think that it's a fairly reasonable thing to think that like if you finish school and you're burnt out on animation, your school did something wrong. Because when I left Animation Mentor when I was a student, I like left my school I was going to. I wasn't like burnt out. I wanted a break for sure, but I wasn't like, oh, I need a break. I'm so burnt out. It was more like, oh, no deadlines for a week. This is great. I'm gonna take like a week or two and like not have any deadlines. But that was also like, let's keep going. Um, because yeah, that's the thing I've seen a lot. I've worked with a few people. I had a mentorship for a really long time, a mentorship program that I ran for years, and I only this year I had to like put it on pause because I was so busy. I didn't have time for the meetings. But so I pretty much put it on pause. But that was something that like I worked with a student. I worked for someone. I went and I spoke at the school in Texas, and the students like responded to my speaking engagement. They were like really about it, and I was like, "Wow, I didn't think I was that good." And I came to find out that I was like the only speaker that they'd ever had in 4 or 5 years of this school that was like not a miserable person. I was like, "This is you guys can do it," and they're like, "We've never been encouraged before." Like what? um, it's crazy. The things I learned about that school, wild. But I ended up with one of those students joined my mentorship program, and I worked with her for a couple of years. And it started off as helping with animation, and it ended as what I call animation therapy. And I've done that with several people, where we stop working on animation. Just they would rather spend the time sort of like working through animation trauma, um, and talking through that stuff than actually like working on shots because the stuff that they were dealing with and like trying to animate was so stressful and difficult that like you know. Anyways, all this to say, I've seen that before where people like they finish school and you're burnt out from school and you don't love it anymore and you're like I want to love it, but I don't right now. And that is a problem with where you went to school, not with you. Some time away from it can help. almost like restarting, like why, like revisiting why you loved it originally and revisiting that side of it and like approaching it in a different way than you've now been conditioned to think about animation. It's a very difficult thing to switch, but it's like, it's kind of like physical therapy or something, right? So I call it animation therapy. Like it's basically physical therapy. It's like if you had an injury and you can no longer walk, and I'm not a physical therapist person. Like I don't go outside. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but it's that idea, right? Like if you injure yourself and you can't walk very well, and it's like it's, painful and difficult to walk, you don't do nothing, but you also can't I'm just going to push through it. Like you can't do that either. Um, there is a process to like work yourself back up and like retrain your body of like how to do that thing. Which is like that's like the direction of that. It's like you need something like that. You need to sort of like reset the connections and like approach it in a healthy way, and like you got to fix that problem that they created for you. And it's like not fair to you that you are in that situation in those cases, but like to love it again, that's what needs to happen. And as far as I'm aware, the best way to do that is either returning to the source of why you liked it originally, finding a new person to guide you. Sometimes works for people, like learning it from a new source and a new person who can like guide you around that stuff to like take you a new way. Or it's like the people. It's like you have to find other artists who are also like you gotta be in it with them, and there's like a different kind of excitement. Those are the three things that to me I've seen work for different people. I hope that's somewhat helpful. Is it more advantageous to work on personal projects or short films rather than finishing Animation Mentor? Or how does it? I love how many Animation Mentor questions we have today. Is it more advantageous to work on personal projects or short films rather than finishing Animation Mentor? Does finishing the program stand alone in value as well? And does anim classes get to Tour Studios? Does that have an additional value? Um, oh, and I realized that I had more to her question. I'll come back to I'll get there. Um, is it more advantageous to work on personal projects or short films rather than finishing AM? Depends on the person, but I would say probably not. This is I don't want to I don't want to linger on the topic that I'm about to say. I don't want to linger here, but I I used to recommend Animation Mentor to everybody. It's like it's where I went to school and I really like it and da 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 da, and I think you should like check it out. Um, I no longer say that. It's no longer my top recommendation. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go there. Do you want? But I'm no longer recommending it for my own reasons. Um, I'm not unrecommending it. I'm just not actively recommending it. Right? So I'm like in a neutral place with it. So that's one thing that like I haven't really shared all that much, but that's the thing. But I don't. But that said, so like, but that's important. That's important for me to say that because what I want to follow that up with is I don't necessarily think that it's a great idea to try to go like personal projects or short films rather than finishing it if you're in it. Because the best part about the curriculum is class 6, the last class in the run of the character animation program. If you're in the regular character animation program at AM and you've already gone through a significant portion of the classes, if you're in like 4 or 5 or whatever, 6 is the one that kind of makes it make sense. And you're like, oh, that's what all this was leading up to. Like now I understand how to animate. That was my feeling at the end of class 6. The mentors for class 6 are really good. And not that they aren't for other classes, but like the mentors for class 6 are particularly good. And they really are good teachers. Sean Sexton is who I had, and I learned so much from him that I still use to this day. and his class in particular, like so beneficial, and you'll get way more from his class than you will from working on your own stuff without having his guidance. So no, I don't think it's more advantageous to work on personal projects or short films rather than finishing the school. The way you phrased it, particularly, like no, I don't think the answer. I think the answer would be no. Um, I don't necessarily think that like finishing the program has like a special kind of value, but that class at the end is a particularly good class with particularly good mentors. So that's essentially my answer. And I say that with that context that like I'm not actively recommending Animation Mentor to people at this point for reasons that I am not particularly comfortable talking about in like a live stream that I'm not editing this video. Like, that's where I'm going to end that part of my conversation for now. But I'm not saying it's bad or that you shouldn't go there. You do you want, do your thing. I went there and I enjoyed it and I got a lot out of it. I went at a different time, and also I think there's a lot of really good benefits now that exist that didn't exist when I was there. Like it's way better now than it was when I was a student there. But there's also a lot of other options, and um, yeah. So not trying to bash it. I'm just there's more information now. But yeah, I feel like that's important context just because like I say that, but then I'm also saying the last class is great. You know what I mean? And the thing about touring studios, that's very heavily like dependent on like the arrangement of the year. I don't think that's something to like count on and like it's gonna have this at the end. Like it might not. Not everybody. It's like different, right? So I wouldn't say that that's a particular value because that's not a guarantee. All right, back to the other question. The question, what do I work on? Can I be both enjoying animation and making something for the portfolio? Yes, 100%. I kind of skipped over this, but one thing I should have said that I thought about it and then I forgot to say it was you can go too deep into like learning how to animate and like being very academic about like doing it the right way and like learning the steps and da 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 da. Sometimes you should just make stuff for fun because it's fun and you're just like, just screw around and just make goofy stuff. 100%. You should do that. I think that's something that I did wrong. I was really focused on like, I need to learn how to animate and like follow the steps and do the assignments and like that's what I need to do. And like, I then had a really hard time like being creative and just making stuff for fun. I really struggled and I still to some extent struggle doing that because I really like sort of conditioned myself out of that creativity. So, yes, if you are feeling burnt out and like about animation, then you should make something stupid that you like I'm just going to make something dumb that like doesn't matter and I'm not going to do it right. I'm just going to do it because it's fun. You should do that. Yes. Not everything you make has to be good. Not everything you make has to be for like a particularly like, you know, great reason. Yeah, just have fun with it. You should be having fun with it. And that kind of stuff can go in your portfolio because that's the kind of stuff like if you just make something because you thought it was fun and it's like goofy and kind of bad and whatever, but you enjoyed it, it's like you should 100% put that on your demo reel because that's the kind of stuff that you're actually passionate about, and studios will want to see what will you make if left to your own devices. What kind of creative energy are you bringing to the table? What kind of chaos comes with you? I started college as an aerospace engineering major. Thank God the school had a game dev program and one lone animation class because I was not cut out for engineering. No shame in switching majors. Agree. I was going to do electrical engineering, and then I was going to do business administration, and then I discovered computer science, and I was like, heck yeah. And then I was like, animation? That's way better. Let's do that instead. I support Sir Wade taking our money. Me too, but in like a good way. Because I'll give you useful knowledge in return for it. I won't rip you off. It'll be good money spent. Let's see. I'm gonna be doing animation mentor this winter, so that's good to know. That's cool. And in case you're interested, I also have some classes that are a lot cheaper that I'm not necessarily saying are like, it's not apples to apples. It's a different thing. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good reasons to go to a school like Animation Mentor. Um, they give you a bunch of stuff that like I don't, I'm one person. They have a whole school, so I'm not trying to be like, go to me instead. But in case you're interested, I have very affordable classes. I have some stuff coming up. I'm mounting a Lightbox. That's what I'm alluding to here. But no, do your thing. Enjoy the winter classes. Do you still use your Rococo suit? Yes, but I currently have an XN suit on loan, which is a much higher quality suit with much stronger data. And so I am not currently really using the Rococo suit because I have access to something fancier. Once I have to give that suit back, I will be back to my Rococo suit, and that's what I will be using when I need motion capture. But I've now tasted like I've had it's like I've had like okay chocolate and I've had like really good chocolate. And there's like gourmet chocolate about I don't know why chocolate's my analogy. I think I'm hungry. But I do still use my Rococo soup, but I don't use it over the other option I have at the moment. And once I lose that option, I'll be back to the Rococo soup, but I will wish that I had something a little bit stronger. Rococo is a great like entry level suit, but at my for what I do, like I would really prefer to have something stronger than entry level data. That's definitely the case right on the mark, actually. I thought it might be. Yeah, man. Any advice on starting your own studio for feature animations? I mean, yeah, you should watch my video on starting and failing at running an animation studio. There's some actually really good tips in there because I was running a studio for a while. It wasn't for feature, but there's some good tips in there. Advice for starting a studio for feature animation? I mean, like, that's a lot of work. I would say start with that video. Honestly, I don't have anything beyond that right now. I'd be like, watch that video. With the current state of the industry, actually, the other thing I would just say, just to say it, is like take care of your artists. Don't don't try to run a studio if you're not going to take care of your artists. If you're going to just like take advantage of people, and I'm not saying that like you're going to do this. It's just I've seen this enough. People spin up studios because they want what they want, and they're willing to like mistreat people who work with them and work for them so that they can make money and so they can whatever. Like, don't don't bother. Just don't. We don't need more of that. There is a way to be ethical in this business, and it is very difficult, but it's worth it. So, you know, that's my advice. My advice is to just like be a decent person if you're gonna run this stuff, because you can do it. Some of these studios do a really good job of it. Others, they're not the blueprint you want to follow. With the current state of the industry, how can one get into the gaming industry through animations? I'm not the best person to ask about getting into the games industry because I've never had a job in games. It's something I'm very interested in, but I have not done it. So I'm not really the best person to answer that question. But my, guess of an answer, currently in the industry, how can one get into the gaming industry through animations? Same as ever. Do the job you want to be hired to do and demonstrate that you can do that job. So if you want to get into the gaming industry and you want to do animation for games, then you should make game animations and you should learn how to implement them in Unreal Engine or whatever engine you're trying to work with. And you should learn how to use the different systems. If it's Unreal, it's, montages and I don't know, notifies and blueprints, and you should learn enough of those systems so that you're effectively already doing the job, and then show that you're like, hey, I made like a locomotion system for this for like the fake game, and I did these things, and I got some feedback, and I used this to fix it, and I learned this tool, and blah blah, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you know what you're doing, get in here. That's how you get the job. Like, demonstrate that you can do the job. I decided on getting back to study 3D animation. Wait. I decided on getting back to study 3D in university, and the goal is to have my own animation studio like DreamWorks. You don't want your own animation studio like DreamWorks right now. DreamWorks has had some good movies come out lately. They have great creative people there. DreamWorks as a studio right now, whew, they are, from what I know, from what I've seen lately, they're not doing so hot. Um, but what do I know? I'm not there anymore. What you want to do is you want to make cool stuff that you're proud of with other passionate artists. That's what you want. I mean, I'm speaking for you a little bit, but it's typically what the goal should be is, the creativity and the collaboration. And you don't necessarily need to build something like DreamWorks to have that. But if that's your goal, go for it. Just keep sight of the things that's important. Thanks for your insight on the burnout conundrum. Knowing it's common makes me feel much better, and I look forward to getting back to it. The stream alone helps. I'm glad. That is why we're here today. That is why I'm doing these. These are literally the entire point of these, like, Friday, what did I call them? Live Fridays? Friday Lives? Live Fridays. I'm calling them Live Fridays. They're literally just as a fun little second screen experience so that we can all hang out and have a good time and, bring some good vibes. Because we all need it. We all need the good vibes right now. I'd definitely be interested since I learned a lot through your videos that my original college teachers weren't demonstrating that well. Yeah, that's one of my favorite reviews and testimonials on my classes. I get that a lot in my what did you think of the class? Like, leave a review type thing. It's my favorite thing. It's like, I went to a school for this many years and you taught me more in the first week than I learned in the first 4 years at this university. What was I doing? I so wish that I could just be like, let me take 10%, just like 10 measly percent of a college tuition, of all the students, of what they charged all the animators. Let me just take 10% of that and I'll live pretty for a long time and I'll make you the best course content ever. If I could convince everybody who's like, we're all going to college and we're going to spend all this money on an animation school. If I could just convince everybody's parents, hey, take the tuition or whatever you're going to pay, chop it in half. Make a third of it. Give me just take 25%, some small, just save most of that and give me the rest. And I will build you a better, I will get you a job. I will work. I will get you that job. For how expensive those schools are, please. I will. Mm, that's the goal. So expensive, and you get nothing for it. Even some of the online schools, that's kind of one of my things now, is a lot of the online schools are really expensive. And sometimes they're worth it, and sometimes they're not. And that's why a lot of my stuff is not that expensive, because I'm one person and I can make it a little bit cheaper and make it more accessible and still deliver really good stuff. I think, I hope. But, I too would like to, you know, not be doing this with the economy. We're all there. Let's stop giving it to the board of director rich people who run these schools and don't even make a good program. What the heck? Anyway, I'm learning animation, but do I need to know about game engine to work for game animation? It helps. You don't necessarily need to know. It depends on the studio. It's beneficial. You don't have to learn it, but if you can learn it, it will help you. You'll have more control over your animation in game. You don't have to, since game development relies a lot on Maya or Blender or the animation aspect, but you should learn how to implement those animations in engines like Unreal for a smooth workflow. Yes. Technically, you could animate directly in the engine now, and you could also use motion capture, and there's other methods beyond Maya and Blender and stuff, but yeah, typically, if you can learn how to implement it, it's going to help. Agree. In your opinion, what is the best personal quality? Wait. In your opinion, what is the best personal quality or practical skill set that you see in character animation or character animators? Best personal quality or practical skill set? Discipline, for sure, is one of them. Feels like a little bit of a hustle buzzword, but being disciplined and being able to just like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to not stop working on this until I hit this point. So important. It is so easy to procrastinate or get distracted or like start noodling with stuff. Like you just have to kind of like move through. And like sometimes it's just like I just have to block this out. I just need to get all the poses in there, and it's tedious and it's annoying. But like once you do it, then you can move on. You can do other things. And so discipline in just pushing forward, very important. And beyond that, I would also say something really. I mean, I would say there's a certain, not in like an annoying way, but like being generally positive is a very, very beneficial, helpful thing to have and to be. You don't need to be like toxic positivity. And it's not like you're not allowed to be like frustrated and like burnt out or like, ugh, it's depressing. Like you can feel your feelings, but no one wants to work with like a downer, like a Debbie Downer, like someone who's just like kills the vibe constantly, is always complaining, is always like moaning and like, oh, oh, woe is me. Oh, this is so this and that and like, da, 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 da. Like I don't know. I've known a couple of people who are like, oh my gosh, like they really are just, you're just like, oh my god, like stop it. You are just, you're making this awful for everybody around you. Ugh. Not very often, but like I know a couple people, and they're people who struggle to get jobs, and they're going to struggle to get jobs partially because of that. Um, like you gotta, in a way, it's like you gotta manifest the good stuff. But that sort of positive energy, again, it's not like it has to be fake or some like overly like I'm so happy all the time. It's not that. It's just you know, you got to move forward. It's like Meet the Robinsons. Keep moving forward. Like you got to have a certain amount of like, all right, let's go. Let's just keep move. It's a kind of, it's an emotional version of discipline, where you have to just kind of accept that yeah, I'm here. I'm here by choice. I'm here because I want to be here. I don't have to like it all the time, but like, let's do it. There's a certain like professional positivity that needs to exist so that you can exist in that workspace and like you can continue to function. Hard to explain, but like it's a weird nuanced thing that like it's important. And then the last thing is something that I wish I had more of, which is just like, one of the best things could be like being very creative and not very perfectionist, and just being okay to like, let me just kind of like throw it in there. Let me just get the idea in there. Like, let's just get it in rough and just quick. Like, that is so beneficial to just have that creative spark and to not be overly precious about it. I really struggle with that. I'm such a perfectionist, and I don't work in traditionally creative brain ways. I really struggle. I have to have like other sort of mental cheats of how I make myself creative, because I'm not just naturally creative in that particular way. So it's very hard for me. So I'm much more technical than I am like, otherwise creative. So those are some of the things I would say are important. How would you feel about coming back to keyframe animation from scratch after using Xsense for so long? I still like it. There's certain types of shots that I'm like, "Ugh, this is so slow," but you know, I still really I prefer the workflows of keyframe animation. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing like body mechanic stuff and it's like not fun body mechanic stuff, and it's like, this is not an entertaining shot. This is just, I need someone to move around and lift something and like do this weird motion where it's like it's heavy and like it's got all this over. Like, oh yeah, like give me the mocap suit. Like let me just get that crap in the computer so I can just like move forward. But like lip sync, facial animation, like ooh, don't like, I don't want to touch motion capture. Let me in there, you know? The parts that I like, I really like. And so I like coming back to keyframe animation for certain things. For other stuff, I could take it or leave it at this point. But that's because I usually work on, again, not very creative things. I'm working on more technical stuff where it's like it's really about mechanics and weight, and it's less about, it's more about the physicality of something and the realism of it than it is about like the entertainment value. Entertainment value, keyframe animation. Totally agree with the tuition. I finished a degree in graphic design and God, it's not worth the money and time and effort. Don't say it's useless. Don't say it's useless to help me doing 3D stuff. That's good. That's good at least. Like if you're gonna spend all the money on some kind of a degree that's gonna be like, oof, it wasn't really worth it, but at least you're able to take some piece of it and make the most of it. That's good. You know. I wish I spent that money on courses that actually give me the same value I paid. Yeah. Yep. Yep, that's why I'm trying to get the word out about my stuff at Lightbox. I'm gonna be announcing a bunch of stuff that it's like, hey, if you're trying to go spend a bunch of money on learning stuff, you can spend a whole lot less money with me. You will learn some really great stuff, and then if you still want to take the expensive stuff, feel free. But you might not need to. So, link in the description for the Lightbox stuff and the classes stuff that I'm doing. And with that, I've hit the bottom of the chat. Let's save the rest of the questions for next Friday when we do another live stream because I'm so tired. I have been awake for like, at this point, I've been awake for like 30 hours. And I've been sitting in this chair for at least 26 of those hours. And I'm very tired. So I'd like to go to sleep now. And actually, wait, I want to address that. You are so 100% right. Your website is kind of hard to navigate. Oh my God, you're so right. I hate my website right now. It's so awful. I actually have like a whole thing with my website where like I actually have like 2 websites right now because if you go to courses.surway.com, like where the link takes you, that's like where my course stuff is. Technically, there is a surway.com, but it's like really old and it's on a different platform, and I haven't updated it in 8 years, and like that's just a whole thing. But like the course platform, the courses.surway, you're right. My website is actually terrible right now, and I really should sit down and fix it, but it requires a lot of time and I don't have the time. I really need help. If anybody knows somebody who does like web design stuff, who's like really good at it, because the thing is like I need it to be actually really good. If anyone knows anybody, or if anyone has that skill set, you know, send me an email, please. Use Kajabi as my website provider, and I'm going to continue to use Kajabi as my website provider for now. But if anyone knows anybody, I don't have like a ton of budget to do the website stuff, so it depends on what someone's charging, because again, that's why it's bad right now. I don't have money to hire someone to fix it, but like I don't have the time to fix it either. But I agree with you. It is real rough and I need to fix it. So yes, I agree. Trying to do that before Lightbox. Fingers crossed. Hate web stuff at this point. Anyways, thank you all for the great questions. This was actually a really fun stream for me. I really enjoyed the chat, the questions, the good stuff. Forums, stuff, Lightbox. Remember, message me or DM me or something if you are interested at all in volunteering to help with the booth in exchange for a ticket to Lightbox, 3-day pass. And or if you are an animator and you are down to maybe do some reviews or something at the booth and help people out, I've got some other stuff planned for you as well. So if anyone's interested, you know, send me a message. But I will see you guys next Friday. Not sure what time yet, but keep an eye out and we'll do another live stream. So thanks. Catch you guys later. Bye.